that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio examines the duality of Johnny Miller's Hall of Fame career. As a player, he was one of the few to challenge Jack Nicklaus in the 70s.
Maybe the greatest iron player ever.
And as an unfiltered and fearless broadcaster.
If Ben Hogan saw that, he'd puke.
Legends of the Game. Legends of the Game. Johnny Miller debuts May 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Listen on Channel 92 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
This
slams the ball to right field. Way back. Way gone.
Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second to throw. In time.
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The season finale, or the series finale, I should say, from Tampa, Florida. The Blue Jays taking on the Rays for the third game of 3 in this set after back-to-back 3-1 losses. Toronto hopes the heat and sunshine will help the bats get hot and help them salvage this series against the Rays. Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Joe Ali is our host today. Nick Blackmore, our producer. Tom Young, our technical director. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Antigonish in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986. So protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center. Visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. Blue Jays throw their most productive starters so far this season. It's Chris Bassett on the hill today, who brings a sub-3 ERA into George M. Steinbrenner Field. On the other side, it's Ryan Pepio for the Rays. Not the typical high 90s heater like a lot of the Rays starters have had, but a very good off-speed pitch. He'll try and keep the Blue Jays off balance today. Lineup standings, first pitch coming up on the other side. This is Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on sportsnet.ca, on the Sportsnet app, and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ Home Hardware and Building Center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protect.
What's up, baseball fans? Happy Sunday afternoon, a day game today. The Blue Jays and the Rays, thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon and spending your Sunday with us here on TSI, cheering on our Blue Jays. Both teams with the exact same record. Whoever wins today gets a leg up in the standings. Today, even though the Blue Jays are coming off a couple of bad losses in the little stadium down in Tampa, the Yankees spring training stadium, it's all on the line today. Let's go, Blue Jays. We need the win. We got to surpass the Rays. Thank you for being here. Please hit that like button. Please share this link out. Let's get more Blue Jays fans here to cheer on our Jays all season long while we benefit SickKids Hospital in Toronto with every single game. Mentioning also our playoff pulse today. Make sure you are here for the hockey game. The Oilers, we got to cheer Canada on loud, as well as the basketball game. The Knicks and the Pacers at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. We'll see you in the chat. Go Jays, go. Let's get the win today, boys.
Radio Network.
Look at second at a rise. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Bassett bounces back from the Arise double, punching out Machado and Merrill to make it a scoreless top of the first. And the 1-2. Check swing. Called. Strike 3 on the inside edge. He did elevate the cutter. Tatis upset. Mike Schilt upset. But the Padres will have to go back to the dugout and get ready for defense. Bassett kicks and offers. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. How about 6 shutout innings from Chris Bassett to keep the Blue Jays on top 3-0 over the San Diego Padres. Chris Bassett was sensational in his last start, blanking the Padres through 6, helping the Blue Jays to a win that day. He'll try to do the same today. Game 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays alongside former Major League pitcher Chris LaRue. I'm Ben Schulman. And Chris, with the way the Blue Jays have hit so far in Tampa Bay, they're going to need all of that from Chris Bassett coming up against the Rays today.
Well, how about that call from Ben Schulman? Wow.
That's exactly what everyone was focused on. Thank you.
Well, I mean, Chris Bassett has been very, very good over his last 2 starts. 11 2/3 innings, just 1 earned run. In his last start against San Diego, 0 earned runs, just 1 walk. And the reason for that is he's really locating that sinker-cutter combination very well. The sinker inside to lefties, away to lefties, outside to righties, and then he mixes in that cutter at the very top of the strike zone. It looks like a very hittable pitch, and then all of a sudden scoots away from that barrel. He's been locked in.
Blue Jays will need that today. Before we get there, though, we got to tee up the game today with the lineups, the standings a little bit more. So let's go over to one of our voices of the broadcast, host Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome back inside Baseball Control, everyone. Show Ali with you at our downtown Toronto studios as we await first pitch of the series finale down at Steinbrenner Field in Florida. The Blue Jays taking on the Rays in the series finale. They are looking for a win as they are trying to avoid a sweep before heading out to Texas tomorrow to play the Rangers for the first of 3. We will get to the starting lineups in a sec, but first, let's check out the Bet365 standings update. At Bet365, you can bet on popular markets like hits, home runs, and total bases. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. So our game and the Orioles game are the first ones of the day. In the American League East, the Guardians taking on the Tigers right now, and Tarek Skubal is really shoving. But it does mean in this division, the standings are still set. So entering play, the Yankees are atop the division. They are 31-20 after pummeling the Rockies last night. The Red Sox are 27-27 after splitting the doubleheader yesterday with the Orioles. The Rays and the Blue Jays are 25-26, and the Orioles, after that doubleheader, they are 17-34. If you're curious, since we'll be doing this again tomorrow, the Rangers enter play today at 25-28, so another ball club in the same range as the Jays. 3 games in Texas await the Jays beginning tomorrow. Before we get you back to Ben and Chris, who are standing by for the call of today's ball game, let's get to the starting lineups. Bo Bichette is batting leadoff. He is at shortstop. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is batting second. He is at first base. Anthony Santander is DHing. He was batting 6th in yesterday's game, but after 2 hits and 2 walks, he gets moved back up to the 3 hole. So he is batting third. He is DHing. George Springer's in right field. He is batting cleanup. Addison Barger is batting 5th. He is at third base. Ernie Clement is batting 6th. He is at second base. Jonathan Clase is in left field batting 7th. Ali Sanchez is batting 8th. He is catching. Miles Straw is batting 9th. He is in center field. Chris Bassett starts for the Blue Jays today, and you heard some of his strikeouts from the 3-0 win over the Padres. And Ali Sanchez, I know many people are perhaps not super familiar with him, but he was called up and added to the active roster today after Tyler Heineman was put on the 7-day IL with a concussion. Now, of course, Heineman took a pair of foul balls off the mask during the Padres game on Thursday. Arden Zwelling from Sportsnet.ca reporting concussion symptoms, or Heineman reported concussion symptoms. Arden reporting that's what happened to the Blue Jays training staff on Saturday. Ali Sanchez batting .253 with 5 homers over 28 games with the Buffalo Bisons this season. For Kevin Cash and the Rays, here are their starting lineup. Yanni Diaz is DHing. He is batting leadoff. Josh Lowe is in right field, batting second. Batting third is Brandon Lau at second base. Junior Caminero, he had the 3-run shot yesterday. He is batting cleanup at third base. Jonathan Aranda is at first base, batting 5th. Batting 6th, Chandler Simpson is in left field. Batting 7th, Taylor Walls is at shortstop. Batting 8th, Cameron Meisner is in center field. And Ben Rortvedt is catching. He is batting 9th. Ryan Pepio starts for the Rays. All right, we are just about a couple of minutes away. The players are on the field getting warmed up. So let's get you over to the guys calling today's action. Here are Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. Getting set for the first inning of this ball game, which is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Armstrong Bird Food, the reason birds fly north, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Ryan Pepiot, the right-hander, about to get going in this ball game for what will be his 11th start of the year. The righty is 2-5 with a 3.99 ERA. Mention it off the top. He doesn't have the loudest stuff of the Rays rotation, but that's all relative. He's still got a 95-mile-per-hour fastball and a really good changeup. Throws the slider and cutter as well. Occasional curve. He's a handful for the guys who come up against him.
Well, he would be the hardest thrower in this Toronto Blue Jays rotation.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much. That fastball up to 97. I've actually seen it up to 98. Not very often, but when you're talking about high velo, he's probably average when it comes to this Rays rotation, but way above average in terms of starter velo. Blue Jays need to be ready to hit the heater today.
Blue Jays saw Pepiot on the 14th at Rogers Center. That was the first time that he had faced off against Toronto. And the Blue Jays did win that game, but not really because Pepiot was bad. They got him for 3 runs, but it was a 6th-inning 3-run homer by Alejandro Kirk that flipped the game. The Blue Jays won that day 3-1. Pepiot getting a new baseball, 6'3", 27-year-old right-hander on the top of the hill, all whites today. You can see the stirrups for Pepiot because he's hiked his pant legs up and his dark hair peeks out of the back of his cap. For the Blue Jays, it's the baby blue uniforms. Bo Bichette leading off. He's got hiked up pants as well, dark blue socks. The wind from Pepiot and the pitch is hit foul off to the right, 0-1. Time of the first pitch today, 1:40 Eastern, a very sunny day in Tampa. And weather-wise, this might be the most challenging day for everyone. It's 33 degrees at the time of first pitch, and it's only getting hotter. 0-1. Swing and a high fly ball deep left center field. Simpson going back. So is Meisner, and Meisner makes the catch on the warning track. The center fielder brings it in for the first out.
Well, Bo Bichette hit that ball on the screws. Didn't get underneath it enough to get that ball out of here. Cameron Meisner with the nice play up against the wall out in left center.
It's been that kind of series so far for Bo Bichette. Still waiting for his first hit in this set against the Rays. With 1 out now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. comes up. Blue Jays have scored once in the first inning in the last 13 games. The pitch. Swing and a pop-up foul into the seats back behind home. 0-1. That 1 run they scored in a first inning in the last 13 was a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. solo homer that he hit off Dylan Cease in the opener of the Padres series. Right-handed hitter brings the left elbow up high, 0-1. Called a ball. Might have been a strike on the inside corner. It's 1-1.
Well, it seems, or at least early on, a small sample size so far, the Blue Jays are going to be aggressive against Ryan Pepiot. Both Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bichette have swung at the first pitch.
Wind in the 1-1. Swing and a rocket out to right center. Going back Meisner again, and that ball is down on the track, bouncing off the wall. Vladdy has a hard turnaround first, but stops it there. Meisner barehanded it off the wall and got it back in quick, so it's a long single.
Well, unfortunately for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that ball bounced off the wall out in right center and right to Cameron Meisner. Cameron Meisner barehanded that baseball and made a perfect throw back into second base, keeping Vlad at first base.
And we just got a second look. It's not like Vlad watched that ball or didn't come out of the box hard. He did everything he could, but he stops at first. Pitch to Anthony Santander. High ball 1. Another factor, it's not a very large ballpark. Exact confines of Yankee Stadium. 314 to the pole in right, 318 to left, 408 to dead center. Sun shining down as the switch hitter Santander bats left. Here's Pepiot from the stretch. Hit back foul, 1-1. Santander back up in the number 3 spot today. Probably less about any sort of promotion in the lineup and more the fact that Kirk and Varsho are both resting today. One. Hit on the ground, foul, 1-2.
Well, you said it'll be tough for the players today on the field because it's 33 degrees, but how about the fans just getting scorched in that Florida sun?
And because it's a minor league ballpark, there's not second decks and third decks covering the main bowl of seats in shade. it's pretty much sunlight all around. And from what we can see, there's a lot of open seats, probably because a lot of people are finding places on the concourse or out in the outfield in the shade. The 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And I guess theoretically it's okay in spring training when it's 21, 22, even 25 degrees, but when it's 33 degrees in the middle of May, almost June, that is some hot weather.
Usually they're in February, March. 2-2. High and outside with a change ball 3. John Schneider talked a little bit about how the Blue Jays will deal with it. You know, they play spring training here. Schneider and a good handful of the Blue Jays have played in the Florida State League. Some other Blue Jays were with them when they had to play part of the season at TD Ballpark. But there isn't a quick fix. They have some cooling in the dugout to try and keep it there. Some more radical solutions as well. We'll get to that in a sec. First with 1 out and a runner on first, the 3-2. Fouled away. One thing Schneider said they do, or did do, when they were in Dunedin, they would have extra jerseys and they'd put them in a freezer. So then once you sweat through your jersey, you take it off, you go get this ice cold jersey from a freezer and you throw it on. 7th pitch to Santander. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 95 at the top of the zone. Good execution from Pepio. And there are 2 down.
That's a good pitch. A 4-seam fastball just above that strike zone. Actually might have clipped that strike zone. Ben Rortvedt pointing out at Pepio, letting him know that was perfect location.
Mentioned it's not quite the velo that some of his fellow starters have, even though it's still impressive. Pepio also not a big strikeout guy. His first pitch to Springer inside, ball 1. 47 strikeouts and 56 in a third innings pitched. But he's been effective. 4th year in the big leagues, 2nd year with the Rays after being dealt over from the Dodgers before last year. Righty's 1-0. Swing and a miss. Snap throw over to first. Dive back in by Vlad, who extends the right hand onto the base to avoid the back pick of Ben Rortvedt.
The difference maker for Pepio is the changeup. He throws that changeup really in any count to righties, to lefties. His fastball is relatively straight, and when you're a hitter and you know a guy has a really good changeup, you have to respect that changeup.
1-1 change, rolled foul. Pardon me, that was the slider. It's 1-2.
And then from time to time, a lot like Anthony Santander, I feel like that was a pitch that he should have at least made contact with. That fastball is able to sneak right by you because you're thinking changeup.
Pepio wiping his forehead on his right shoulder, licks his fingers and wipes them on the side of his pants. 2 outs in the top of the first, no score. George Springer batting with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading off first. A 1-2. Fouled off. Hit the glove of Rortvedt. Might have got him on the tips of the fingers or something like that. He looked a little bit shaken up. Head sagged down for a moment, but Rortvedt's all right, and George Springer's still alive.
Looked like it might have got him off the toe. I believe that toe is not covered by that shin guard. We're about to see right here.
I think it got his thumb on his glove.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's tipped by Springer. Now the 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The changeup being the big pitch for Pepio. One of the reasons that he's had reverse splits so far this season, right-handed hitters have hit better off the righty than left-handed hitters. 2-2. Swing and a foul off to the right. And it's not a small difference. It's a big difference. Righty's hitting .311 against Pepio with an .881 on base plus slugging. That's all-star production. Lefty's hitting below 200 with a little power, but that's pretty much it. Another 2-2. Low ball 3.
And I think the reason for that is the slider that he does throw, he throws it a lot to righties, is more like a cutter. There's not a ton of movement on it. It's 90, 91 miles an hour. Easy to see. Unless it's really well located, it's probably a pitch that's barreled up often, at least against right-handers.
change in theory is going to be more effective to lefties, falling away from lefties.
Although a changeup to righties pretty effective too if you can locate that pitch down in the strike zone. Just not sure if he's doing that.
Vladdy off on the 3-2. Swing and a rocket picked up on a bounce edge short by Walls. Throws over to first to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. No score, middle of the first. Blue Jays and Rays will be back in a sec. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ home hardware and building center locations where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Breaking news. Bet365 must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Going back, Varsho slips on the warning track and makes the catch!
Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Chris Bassett on the hill. Game 3, Blue Jays and Rays. No score, bottom of the first. And the pitch is inside to Yandy Diaz. Ball 1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali, our host. Nick Blackmore, our producer. And Tom Young, our technical director. Right-handed hitting Diaz faces a 1-0. And it's chopped foul. A sinker beat into the ground down the third baseline. 1-1. Chris Bassett working with Ali Sanchez today. It's Bassett's 11th start, 4-2 with a 2.83 ERA. Righty through 6 scoreless innings on 100 pitches against the Padres on the 20th. 4 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He did pretty much anything he wanted to on that day. The 1-1. Low, 2 balls, 1 strike.
How about Ali Sanchez just being thrown into the fire against a guy with 7, 8, 9 pitches? I know he doesn't use all those pitches as much anymore, but still a tough guy to catch.
Yeah, this is, I think, an underrated big storyline of the game. Sanchez was with the Blue Jays in spring training. Here's the 2-1. Hit high in the air, out to left field, ranging over toward the gap. Clase makes the catch on a bit of a roundabout route, and there's 1 down. Ali Sanchez with the Blue Jays in spring, so he has caught Chris Bassett before, but not in any game situation. Didn't catch him in a spring game once, and now he gets pulled in here because it's a 1 o'clock game after a 7 o'clock game. Kirk's got the day off. Heineman placed on the 7-day concussion injured list today, so it's Sanchez's game to catch. The pitch to Josh Lowe. Called a ball. Home plate umpire today is Alfonso Marquez. Lance Barrett at first, Brock Ballou at second, Carlos Torres at third. Looked like that pitch had the zone, but here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss.
As much as you probably would think that it's a pitcher's job to call the game, and that is true. It is the pitcher's job to call the game. He makes the decisions out there. A pitcher doesn't want to be shaking every pitch. They want to be on the same page with the catcher, get into that rhythm. That's why it's difficult right now.
1-1 is called a strike. Might have been a little outside, so everything's evened up. It's 1-2. Chris Bassett, when he first got to the Blue Jays, was doing a lot of his own pitch calling with Alejandro Kirk. And Bassett does have the pitch comm on his right hip. He'll still go to it from time to time in starts with Kirk. He goes to it right now. Winds and the 1-2 to Lowe. high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, that sinker, at least so far today, early on in this ball game, has a lot of movement. The velo is about 90 to 92 miles an hour, so not overpowering velo from Chris Bassett, but it's moving all over the place right now.
Two pitch. Lined out to left field and down for a base hit. Picked up by Clase on 3 hops. Josh Lowe with a nice start to his day. He goes to the opposite field for a 1-out single.
Not a terrible pitch. A sinker down in the strike zone, maybe at the bottom of that zone, but Josh Lowe does a good job going the other way, hitting a line drive out in front of Jonathan Clase in left field.
Big base runner for the Rays, though, because here comes Brandon Lau. Lau with a lot of history and a lot of good history against Chris Bassett in his career. It includes a grand slam that he hit last season in the opening series. Left-handed hitter, hits with 1 out and Low on first. The pitch, runner takes off, pitches outside a ball, throw to second, not in time. Low dives in there head first with his first stolen base of the year.
That bag was stolen on Chris Bassett. Ali Sanchez really had no chance at throwing out Josh Lowe at second base.
Only the 11th game of the year for Josh Lowe. He picks up his first stolen base. A little shuffle before he took off, so he's in scoring position. 1 out and a 1-0 count. Pitch to Lau. Hit high in the air out to right field. Springer going back. It is gone. Home run, Brandon Lau, and the Rays homer in the first inning for a second straight day. 2-0 Tampa Bay in the first.
8 for 15 now. Brandon Lau is seeing the baseball really well out of that hand of Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett tried to sneak that cutter to the top of the strike zone, maybe at the hands, and it was just a spinner right over the middle. Brandon Lau got that BP fastball and hammered it out of here for a 2-0 Rays lead.
Similar pitch to the one he hit the grand slam on last year. A cutter that stayed over the middle. Lau starting to get going. It's his 10th home run of the season and his second of the series. And the Blue Jays, it just feels like every day playing from behind, even on the days that they win. The first inning has not been a friendly one to Toronto. Pitched out to Junior Caminero. Called a ball, probably had the corner, ball 1.
And it's really tough playing from behind. Although I trust Chris Bassett and I trust the fact that he will probably go deep in this ball game. He'll start to make better pitches, but it is tough to play from behind, even if it's only 2-0.
1-0 to Caminero. Line foul right side. It's Caminero who got it going yesterday. He hit the 3-run homer in the first, and that was all the Rays needed. Did not score a run in their next 26 outs, but they won the game 3-1. 2-0 Tampa Bay, 1 out, bases empty, the 1-1. Swing and a miss at the curve, and for the second straight day, Caminero whips his bat toward the third base dugout, losing it on the swing. It's 1-2.
I mean, Caminero was way out in front of that pitch. That's one of Chris Bassett's best curveballs of the season, 71 miles an hour at the bottom of the strike zone. I'd probably throw another one of those just a little bit lower, maybe out of the strike zone. Junior Caminero was fooled, obviously, by that pitch.
21 years old, Caminero, a big swinger. Hit his 9th home run of the season yesterday, the 1-2. Went with the high cutter, just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Part of the reason he keeps losing his bat, not just the heat and the sweaty hands, he's got the hardest swing in the American League. Swings at a breaking ball off the plate, grounds it to third. Barger throws to first, and there are 2 down.
He's a good player, 21 years old. I mean, I can't remember what I was doing at 21, but I was probably in college, maybe taking a mathematics exam. Who knows? But Junior Caminero, a bright future for him, for sure.
He swings the bat on average just over 78 miles an hour. And we have learned from the bat tracking, bat speed being high, not always good. There are a lot of guys with low bat speeds who are really good hitters. 2 outs the pitch to Jonathan Aranda. Called a strike 0-1.
Luis Arraez being one of them.
He is absolute bottom of the league, and he's a good hitter. But if you want to hit for power, then you do have to have a quick bat. The only guy that swings harder than Caminero in baseball on average, or faster, I should say, is O'Neal Cruz. 0-1 pitch, lined by Caminero, over the head of Clemente at second and down and right, a base hit. Third knock of the inning for the Rays.
Just a good piece of hitting there. It was a splitter that was supposed to be below that strike zone. And again, Chris Bassett leaves a very hittable pitch right over the middle. Jonathan Aranda doing a good job staying back and just flicking the bat out at it. Good line drive into right field.
Bassett's thrown 18 pitches in this first inning, allowed 2 hits and 3 runs with 2 outs. Speedy left-handed hitter Chandler Simpson up the pitch. Curve drops into the zone. Strike 1. Mid-30s day in Tampa. Sun shining down. 0-1. High. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's probably a nice day if you're sitting by the pool. Maybe not so nice if you're playing a baseball game.
Simpson, though, it looks like still got undershirt on, or at least an undersleeve. I mean, he is from Georgia, so he's played in the heat. The 1-1 is lifted towards second. Ernie Clement makes a catch on the pop-up, and that does it for the first inning. The Rays get a pair on 3 hits. 2-run shot from Brandon Lown. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay after an inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sports.
Let's go Blue Jays. Let's go Blue Jays. Thank you for hanging out with us today during the Jays game. Now is the time of the show for you to let us know where you're watching from all over the world. Let us know what city and province in the chat. Let's see those Canada flags just flying. As well, if you're in the USA, city and state, or all over the world, let us know your international location with that flag emoji. Or you guys can always click the link that is in the description of the video. It'll take you to our website, TorontoSportsInsider.com, our live viewers tab, where you can see all over the world who has been watching these streams with us through Blue Jays games, Maple Leafs games, Raptors games, TFC games, Argos games, or all of the playoff action. Thank you for being here. Thanks for letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's get back to that baseball. Come on, Blue Jays. Let's get that win today.
For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
It's the second inning, presented by Bet365. With Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and you can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Blue Jays in an early 2-0 hole. Top of the second starts with Addison Barger, the pitch. Outside from Ryan Pepio, ball 1. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Blue Jays wrapping up this series against the Rays, and then they'll head to Texas, Arlington, to take on the Rangers. 1-0. Called a strike, 1-1. You think this Rays team has tough pitching? Just wait for DeGrom, Eovaldi, Molly coming up with the Rangers. It's not going to get a whole lot easier. The 1-1. High, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, that's why this game is a very important ball game. You don't want to lose 3 in a row to the Tampa Bay Rays and then go face those guys in Dallas.
Two 1 pitch. Fouled back, 2-2. Blue Jays would love for this to turn into something similar to their last road trip, where they had 2 fairly discouraging losses to the Angels to start, and then all of a sudden they beat the Angels. They go to face a tough pitching team, a tough team overall in the Mariners, and they swept them. Now, that's a very ideal world, but it's possible, as they showed last time. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Second strikeout of the day. Got him on a high fastball And Pepio's got the first out of the top of the second.
And that's not his best heat, 95 miles an hour. But again, it's that four-seam ride at the top of the strike zone that's so hard to barrel up. And then you mix in that changeup, and Ryan Pepio turns into a very good pitcher.
One thing Pepio has really got that sometimes other Rays starters haven't is he's incredibly consistent. The pitch to Ernie Clement, inside, ball one. Pepio has thrown 6 quality starts this year. In his 10 starts so far, he's almost always going to keep you in a ball game. It's just up for the Rays bats to provide, which they have early on, up 2-0. 1-0 to Clement. Drops in the change, top of the zone, 1-1. Ernie hitting .257 this year, 7 doubles and a home run, 11 RBIs. The pitch. Called a strike, fastball down the middle, 1-2. Clement had a nice day yesterday on an otherwise quiet day for Toronto's bats. Came up with a single in the second with a runner in scoring position, although no one scored, and then 2 walks. 1-2 pitch. Hit foul off to the right. Clement reached for one of those pitches that only he can really hit, up above the zone and outside, and got a piece of it.
Well, that's actually where Pepio was trying to throw that fastball, and Ernie Clement, like you said, was able to get the barrel to it.
Slightly closed stance for the right-handed hitter. 1-2 pitch, hit on the ground right side, positioned up the middle. Lau picks it up, throws to first. 2 down. For the Blue Jays, speaking of the road trips, this is their 8th road series of the season. It's already been decided, losing the first 2 games. It's their 5th road series loss. They've won 2, lost 5, and then they split a 2-gamer with Baltimore that weather impacted, making it 2 games instead of 3. Pitch to Jonathan Clase outside. Switch hitter batting left with shades on. Takes ball 1. Almost all teams are going to be better at home than on the road, but the Blue Jays probably need it to be a little closer. 1-0 pitch is lined out toward right center field and down for a hit. Another good swing for Jonathan Clase, who's been really impressing over the last couple days.
Yeah, really smooth swing, quick to the baseball. I've really been impressed with him. I mean, I've been honest with my opinion. I thought he was going to be sent down to AAA about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, but he's really turned it on, swinging at better pitches. And that one right there, little single.
He actually has, in much more limited action than most, the lowest chase rate of any Blue Jay in May right now. He is not expanding much, and now a throw over to first and a dive back in. Aranda is pointing to the dugout. The call was safe, but Aranda seems to think the Rays picked him off. See if Kevin Cash agrees with his first baseman, and the Rays will challenge. Big lead by Clase. He was looking to steal. We just got a look. I think we'll have to get a couple more looks, but it's definitely close.
It's very close at first base. I mean, I think they got him. Jonathan Aranda put a really nice tag on, a quick tag. Ryan Pepio with the quick feet, but you never know because that call on the field is safe.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say they overturn it, but there's a little dirt kicking up as his hand gets in there, and sometimes that makes it hard for them to know exactly when his hand got back in.
I think he's out. I think they're going to overturn this, which is a big overturn because you think Clase will probably try to steal second base, maybe even try to steal third base, and the Blue Jays can sneak a run in here in the top of the second inning, but that's a big out.
It's 2-0 Rays, 2 outs, runner on first, top of the second. If this stands or is confirmed, it remains that way. If it's overturned, that's the inning. Alonso Marquez, Lance Barrett waiting for the ruling. Marquez had briefly taken his hands off his hips, looked like he was going to deliver a call, but now still waiting.
And as we've seen so often, the longer it takes, generally they don't overturn it, so this might be a good sign for the Blue Jays.
Pepio's waited long enough that he's going to start getting in some warm-up tosses. So we get a look through the Sportsnet TV broadcast into the replay review room in New York and the, 100 screens that they have in that room. I don't know how they're keeping track of everything had once, but they're still taking a look at this call at first, and I think we're about to get the ruling.
After review, the call is overturned. The runner is out, and Tampa will retain their challenge.
So that will do it for the top of the second. Jonathan Clase picked off after a review changes the call. No runs on a hit, nobody left for the Blue Jays. 2-0 Rays, middle of the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Decking isn't just about wood. It's about creating the perfect outdoor retreat, and it all begins with the right materials. Essentials you always find at Trex, the leader in composite decking for over 30 years. Sustainable, durable, beautiful. Trex isn't just decking, it's a lifestyle. From homeowners to pros, everyone knows Trex delivers unmatched quality. Ready to transform your backyard into a dream space? Find Trex at Timbermark, Canada's building center, where your outdoor vision comes to life.
Which loony dogger are you? Do you approach Tuesdays with swagger and style? You could be a Rizzy Glizzy. Maybe you're an architect stacking your loony dogs up high. Do you walk into the ballpark with the confidence of an MVD? Then you're the most valuable dogger. This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. No matter which loony dogger you are, you'll have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the ballpark. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Every Tuesday home game. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
It's Blue Jays 5, Mariners nothing in the third.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Home half of the second inning, left-handed hitting Taylor Walls leading off. Switch hitter bats from the left side against Chris Bassett. Here's the pitch. Called a strike, 0-1. Rays 2, Blue Jays nothing. It'll be 7-8-9 in the Rays order. Starting with Walls, who has not made a start in some days due to a minor groin issue. A one pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last start for Walls came on the 20th. Now, he made some defensive and pinch running appearances in the first 2 games of this series. But considering the defender he is at shortstop, this is big for the Rays to have him back. The 1-1. High and outside, 2-1.
And he's got some speed, too. 7 stolen bases this year for Taylor Walls. Infield has to be quick.
On the year, he's batting 186, OPS just above 500. 2 walks, a homer, 10 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases. 2-1 pitch in the zone, 2-2. This is a fairly front-loaded lineup today for the Rays. A couple guys out because of the day game after the night game, and also they're stacking lefties against Bassett. So you really do want to go after this bottom third. 2-2 is a breaking ball outside, 3-2.
Chris Bassett just threw his 26th pitch of the ball game. That's probably something to watch as well. We'll have to be pitch efficient to the bottom part of the order.
He winds in the 3-2. Hit on the ground, foul through the sinker inside, and Walls rolled over it down the first base line. Time called at the plate. Taylor Walls asked for it from Alfonso Marquez. Walls, a third rounder by the Rays in 2017 out of Florida State. 3-2. Smoked foul off to the left on the line. Walls had a big sophomore season with the Florida State Seminoles, batting .355. Slumped a little as a junior, but still went in the third round. 3-2 again. Fouled back once more. College teammate Cal Raleigh, the very good catcher for Seattle Mariners.
Must have been a good college team. Not as good as Winthrop.
Not quite as good.
But a good team nonetheless.
Walls actually made his debut against the Blue Jays in the majors in 2021. 3-2 pitch popped up. Just back at third, Addison Barger jogging back onto the left field grass, makes a one-handed catch, and there's one out.
That's a big out, especially after throwing 9 pitches to Taylor Walls. You don't want to give up a base hit after that. Makes a nice pitch at the top of the strike zone for out number 1.
On the other side, wouldn't be shocked if there were a couple high fives waiting for Taylor Walls. Even though he gets out, you're hitting below 200, you're near the bottom of the order, and you're an all-defense guy. To make Bassett use 9 pitches is a win in itself. His pitch to Cameron Meisner now roped to right field. A line drive base hit. George Springer picks it up. Meisner, the rookie, stops at first.
That's a really good swing from Cameron Meisner. We talked about his struggles last night on the broadcast. That was a 4-seam fastball from Chris Bassett right down Broadway, and Cameron Meisner hammered that thing to right field for a single.
4th hit of the day already for the Tampa Bay Rays, who had 3 all of last night in their 3-1 win. Meisner leading off first. He's got speed, and the pitch to Ben Rortvedt. Left-handed hitting catcher slices it away foul, 0-1. Former Twin and Yankee, Ben Rortvedt in his 2nd year with the Rays after Tampa Bay acquired him just before the start of the 2024 season in a 3-way trade. A 1. Swing and a miss at the curve. Nearly went down to a knee, did Rortvedt. Nothing in 2.
Really nice curveball there. Just landed at the bottom of that strike zone. Perfect location.
Rortvedt put his right hand up to ask for time. Big dude, Rortvedt. Kind of built like a fire hydrant up there. Open stance, the 0-2. Just inside with the cutter.
Does that mean he's short and thick?
Essentially.
All right.
He's not that short, to be clear, but he's a well-built guy.
He's solid.
One-two pitch. Sinker called a ball. Had the zone, really, but it'll go to 2-2.
I think that's a good pitch. Ollie Sanchez might have done a disservice to Chris Bassett out there. It was kind of a weird catch. Didn't really frame it all that well. But you're right, that was a strike.
Looked like it hit the inside edge. Here's the 2-2. Outside 3-2. Second time in 3 batters that Bassett's gone to a full count. Got the number 7 hitter in the order, Walls, to pop up to third. Then a first pitch single from Meisner. And now a full count against Ben Rortvedt. On deck is Yandy Diaz, the pitch. Down and in, ball 4. With all due respect to Rortvedt, that is not the guy you want to walk. He is 5 for 57 on the year.
Yeah, I think with the movement on Chris Bassett's sinker right now, in a 3-2 count to, like you said, Ben Rortvedt, who was coming into that at-bat, hitting .088 this season, just throw that sinker down and away, even down in the strike zone. Maybe think about getting a ground ball and getting out of this inning, but don't love the sequence there, but you got to make a big pitch here to Yandy Diaz.
7 homers, 27 RBIs on the season for Yandy Diaz, but hitting below his career average at .242. The pitch. Called a strike. Diaz had turned away from it, but it just clipped the inside edge. DH Diaz with eye black going up from his chin almost up to under his eye. The 0-1. Down and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. It almost looks like then he put a sticker or something there, like paint tape, because there's a little gap in the shape of an oval and then a little more eye black just over top of it. It's a unique design I haven't seen. One. Called a strike. Sinker caught the top of the zone. 1-2.
Would you rather that type of style or Jose Caballero with the double line underneath each eye?
I like Diaz's more.
Yeah.
Caballero's kind of looks like cat whiskers to me. No offense to him. I mean, if he likes it.
No offense to cats.
Yeah, no offense to cats. 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Meisner on second base, he singled. Rortvedt on first. 2-0 for the Rays over the Blue Jays. Game 3 of this series. Rays looking for a sweep. It's been all long balls really providing the runs for Tampa Bay. Only one hit with runners in scoring position this series. 2-2 is chopped foul, bounced and then hit the right thigh of Diaz. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Bassett just threw his 42nd pitch of the ball game. We're in the bottom of the second inning with just 1 out. A lot of pitches so far.
This inning specifically has cost him a ton of pitches. He's thrown 21 pitches already in this inning, as many as he did all of last inning, and he only has 1 out. A ground ball would do him a big service right now. First and second, 1 out, 2-2 count. Bassett kicks and deals. Foul tip, strike 3. Got him on the cutter, elevated. Don't think he hit the spot, but it works anyway. First strikeout of the day.
Well, a double play there would have been a best case scenario, but I think Chris Bassett and the Blue Jays will take a strikeout of Yandy Diaz right there on a pitch that really wasn't great. It was a backup cutter at the top of the strike zone, almost a BP fastball, and luckily Yandy Diaz missed that.
Whether it's the heat or throwing a lot of pitches or just regrouping, Bassett in a crouch right now over the rubber as he waits for the left-handed hitting Josh Lowe to come up. 2-0 Rays, 2 on and 2 out, bottom of the second. Lowe singled, stole a base and scored in the first. A look at second at Meisner in the pitch. Inside and a grunt from Bassett, 1-0.
Well, Chris Bassett's jersey is soaking wet right now. I don't know if that tells the full story of how hot it is down there on the field, but I don't think he generally sweats that much in his starts.
It is 33 degrees right now in Tampa. 1-0 pitch fouled back into one of the advertisements behind home plate, 1-1.
And he has thrown a lot of pitches.
It's also about 50% humidity. And yeah, he's thrown a lot of pitches. He's been out there a long time. Both of the innings have been quite long, the first and the second. Multiple base runners in each. And the Blue Jays innings have not taken very long when they've hit, so Bassett hasn't had a lot of time in the shade. 1-1. Hit in the air out to center field, charging in. Miles Straw makes a running catch to end the inning. A hit and a walk, but the Rays do not score. They leave a pair on, and it's 2-0 for the Blue Jays. Or pardon me, for the Rays after 2 innings. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ Home Hardware and Building Center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? Junior J Sunday. We can paint your face. Come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday. So many things to do. You could bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Lights up, let's go to Junior J Sundays. It's family fun throughout the ballpark with games and activities that your squad will never forget.
Feeling the song, grab your dad or mom, visit BlueJays.com. Junior J Sunday.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win at 365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Ground ball to second, picked up Jimenez, flips to Bichette for 1, over to first, double play!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Antigonish, New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986, so protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center. Visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. Ball taken up high from Ali Sanchez, who makes his Blue Jays debut today. First time hitting the 1-0. Swing and a line drive. Diving stop on a hop by Lau. Pops up, throws to first. Heck of a play from the second baseman. 1 out.
That's about as good as it gets for Brandon Lau at second base. Taking away a hit from Sanchez, who doesn't really have all that many big league appearances, big league at-bats. That's tough for him.
That's the 98th at-bat of Vali Sanchez's career, a guy that probably still learn about for a little bit as he takes some time with the Blue Jays. Pitch now to Miles Straw is lifted out toward left field. Going back, Chandler Simpson. He makes the catch about 5 feet from the track, and quickly there's 2 outs in the top of the third.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're Bo Bichette, you might want to take a few pitches, especially because Chris Bassett just had a long inning, and this inning already has 2 outs in it. I'm sure Chris Bassett is thinking in that dugout right now, please take 3 or 4 pitches. Don't have a quick at-bat.
Tough thing is, Ryan Pepio probably knows that. Wonder if he gives him a hittable strike here, because he's probably taken all the way. Pitch from Pepio is a fastball swung at and lifted out to right field. Underneath it, Josh Lowe. That's a 4-pitch inning for Ryan Pepio. Blue Jays set down in order, middle of the third, 2-0 for the Rays. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Sports are all about moments.
One of the most incredible, miraculous finishes we have ever seen.
And you can hear them all.
He scores! Alex Ovechkin! There's a new goal-scoring champion!
As they happen.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani, a sayonara swing!
Live in the moment.
Rory McIlroy on his knees. He's won the Masters.
With live sports on Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio, every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
This is Dave LaGreca, creator of the biggest pro wrestling show on the planet, Busted Open. Don't miss myself and my Hall of Fame cast and crew as we break down every story in and out of the ring and talk to the top names in the business, like the legend himself, The Undertaker.
I'm actually glad to be on a real show.
Catch Busted Open live every day from 9 to noon Eastern on Sirius XM Fight Nation, channel 156, and on the Sirius XM app.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you dominate. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
Brandon Lau leads it off for the Tampa Bay Rays, bottom of the third inning. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. It's the Rays 2 and the Blue Jays nothing. And Chris Bassett quickly back out on the field. His pitch to Lau is inside, ball 1. We didn't really have time to expand on it, but after the first 2 were retired on 3 pitches, Sanchez and Straw, Bichette hit the first pitch in the air to right field. So it was a 4-pitch, maybe 2-minute inning in the top of the third for Pepio. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Good splitter. 1-1.
Well, I hate to bury a guy, and Bo Bichette is a veteran. He knows better. He knows that he should have gone up and taken a couple of pitches, maybe even called time, find a way to give Chris Bassett at least a couple of more minutes in that dugout after throwing a lot of pitches in the top of the the bottom of the second.
1-1 is hit on the ground past the dive of Ernie Clement and a base hit into right field. It's actually a pretty good pitch from Chris Bassett. Slider below the zone, but Brandon Lau's got his number. His 9th hit and 16 at-bats overall against him career. And after the home run in the first in that hit, Lau has reached in 9 of his last 11 plate appearances against Bassett.
And I'm sure there's been some good pitches in that run. 9 hits now against Chris Bassett. Like you said, that was a good pitch. It was down below the strike zone. Brandon Lau just did a good job going down and getting it.
5th hit of the day for the Rays. Pitched to Junior Caminero. Called a strike. Rays had 3 hits yesterday, 8 hits in game 1. All of their runs in this series have come via the long ball. 0-1. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Caminero nodding his head as he liked that take. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. When home improvement projects are throwing you a curveball, talk to the folks at Timbermart before you begin your next job. They've got the material and know-how to make sure you have all your bases covered. Timbermart, Canada's building center. The 1-1. Broken back, ground ball, backhanded at short. Bichette over to second one. Toss over to first Clement for a double play. You want to make it up to your pitchers. Start the 6-4-3 double play, and now there are 2 outs.
That is a massive couple of outs, not only for this inning, not only for the Jays, but for Chris Bassett and how he's feeling out there. It's very warm down on that field. You can tell that he's feeling it just a little bit, crouched down a couple of times in this ball game to take a breather. Wow. That is a gigantic couple of outs.
Now Bassett trying to finish off the frame against Jonathan Aranda, left-handed hitter from Mexico, playing first base. The pitch. Popped up. In between home and third. Barger sprinting in onto the infield. Grass makes a running catch, almost running into Chris Bassett to end the inning. So Bassett answers Pepio with a quick inning of his own. No runs on a hit, none left. And we go to the fourth, Rays up 2-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The eyes of the tennis world descend on Paris for the next Grand Slam. Former world number 1 Tracy Austin and Dan Graca take you onto the clay with a Roland Garros preview show.
3 out of 5 at Roland Garros. You have to be fit.
Right now on the Sirius XM app. Just search tennis and talk tennis every Saturday morning at 7 Eastern on Holding Court with Patrick McEnroe.
Never count out the great Novak Djokovic, especially in a major.
On Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Baseball is back. It's former general manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former big league GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the Sirius XM app.
Blue Jays fans, your manager, John Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Our bats have been really kind of the way we envisioned them. Jimenez has kind of picked up where he left off in spring, as has Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, and George Springer is making progress and kind of quieting some people down on the outside with the start he got off to.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you dominate. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
The fourth inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary. Bet365, 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. takes the first pitch at the top of the fourth. 1-0. Pitch missed down and away. It was a change from Pepio. Vladdy's got the only hit so far for the Blue Jays, who trail 2-0. 1-0. Down and away again, 2-0. For part of me, he's got 1 of 2 hits. Clase had a hit as well. He was picked off. Vladdy hit a single in the first inning that he smoked to the wall, but he hit it so hard, and it was a good play from Meisner. It limited him to 1 base. 2 up. Swing and a miss. Tight slider on the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I have to say, really good job from Vladimir Guerrero taking those first 2 pitches. Let's make this inning as long as it can be.
Chris Bassett has spent a lot of time on the hot field. 2-1. Called high in what's been a tight zone today from Alfonso Marquez. That looked like a strike. Vladdy will take it. It's 3-1.
Looked like a strike to me.
Pepio regrouping, nods into Rortvedt, and the 3-1. Called a strike. Vladdy had ditched the bat. That one also had the zone. Looked like it had the inside corner. Guerrero's going to have to ask for time, or he won't have enough time to go back and pick up his bat before the next pitch.
Well, Vlad threw the bat back, took about 8 or 9 steps towards first base. I mean, that's a really good pitch. 95 miles an hour, down and in at the bottom of that strike zone. A perfect pitcher's pitch from Pepio.
I mean, Vladdy sold almost an exact pitch as a ball 2 nights ago and got a walk out of it. 3-2. Down and away, ball 4. Skips to the backstop. Vladdy's going to take off for first base just to force Rortvedt to scramble back for it. He's aboard to start the inning.
How about Vlad showing some energy? 35 degrees. You said it was 33 or 35?
It's 33 a moment ago, but I think it's probably jumped up to 34 right around now.
34 degrees down on that field, showing some pep in his step after ball 4.
Guerrero's been on twice today, more than the rest of the Blue Jay lineup combined. It's still 33, by the way, but it is 50% humidity. The pitch to Anthony Santander outside ball 1. Santander had reached in 5 straight plate appearances before his strikeout in the first. Was on all 4 times yesterday, 2 singles and 2 walks. 1-0. Down and in, 2 balls, no strikes.
Pepio's kind of lost the zone a little bit. These last 3 fastballs from him, really nowhere near the strike zone.
He's grabbing for some dirt from the mound right now. You wonder if the sweat's starting to build up. But these Rays are not used to pitching in this because usually they'd be indoors. Step off, throw to first. Vladdy dives back in.
And pitchers aren't allowed to use any sticky stuff. So when that sweat is dripping down, the only thing that you can really use is the rosin.
There have been some pitchers that have marveled about the effectiveness of rosin and sunscreen, but you're not supposed to do that. 2-0 pitch, called a strike, just clipped the inside edge, 2-1. You're not going to get in any trouble now. You ever mix some sunscreen and rosin?
I have some on right now.
Oh, yeah? The 2-1. Called a strike, hit the bottom of the zone with a cut fastball, 2-2.
But when I was playing, I mean, you could essentially use whatever you want. Right. Any type of sticky stuff. The umpires weren't looking at you. The umpires weren't checking you after every single inning like they do now.
No one was rubbing your hand down.
Nobody. It was great.
2-2. Popped up, back behind the plate, out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Although I was always a sinker changeup guy, well, at least later in my career, so I didn't like the sticky stuff. Some guys, if you really have a tight slider, tight curveball, that's when you like the sticky stuff.
Runner on first, nobody out, top of the 4th. From the stretch, Pepio kicks and offers. Swinging a pop-up again. This one might be playable. Rortvedt behind home plate, mask off. Still holding the mask, dumps it, and he missed the ball. It drops down onto the dirt. Sun, I think, definitely impacted him. I'm also wondering why he held onto his mask that long. He only dropped it as he was trying to make the catch, which feels like it made it a little more difficult.
So from experience, I was a catcher in high school and college. Sometimes you forget to throw the mask because you're so concentrated on that ball. You forget to throw it. You're supposed to throw it when you get a good view of that ball, but obviously Rortvedt forgot to do that.
Yeah, the idea is once you know where the ball's going, just throw it anywhere but there. 2-2 again. Santander hits it hard, foul off to the right. I mean, look, not easy for Rortvedt. He doesn't play all the time. He's coming in on a tough weather day, a 140 first pitch, high sun in Tampa. But even with his struggles out of the gate, you don't want to give Santander an extra life.
No, and that should have been out number 1 in this inning for sure.
50th pitch of the day coming from Pepio, the 2-2. Swinging a pop-up again. Rortvedt taking off the mask, tracking back onto the end warning track. And he makes the catch holding onto his mask as he backpedaled into it. He makes up for it with another unconventional play behind home plate, 1 out.
It's really interesting. Maybe he doesn't throw that mask. Usually you see the catcher, as soon as he gets a good view of that ball, will throw that mask. Some catchers throw that mask 20, 30 feet, almost hitting people. But Rortvedt holding on to that mask. Interesting.
I guess whatever works. And it worked there for Rortvedt after dropping the earlier one. 1 out. Here's George Springer, the pitch. Swing and a pop-up just back of second into right center field. Josh Lowe, the right fielder, coming in, makes the catch, sunglasses on. 2 outs.
Well, I think George Springer knew that he missed that pitch. It was a cutter right down the middle. He popped it up to right field, and he kind of threw his bat a little bit, maybe 15, 20 feet up that first baseline. Really disappointed with that result.
It has been a tough 2-ish weeks for George Springer after his hot start.
He actually didn't throw it. He slammed it into the ground.
He's now 2 for his last 28. Pitch to Addison Barger is lifted toward left field, but that one is going to go foul. 0-1. This inning started with a walk and a good battle from Santander, but he popped out. Next pitch, Springer popped out. Now it's starting to feel like potentially another quick inning for Ryan Pepio. 2-0 Rays, runner on first. Right on left, the pitch. Swing and a line drive right field, hit right at Josh Lowe. Backs up a couple steps and makes the catch to bring in that scorcher and end the inning. No runs, no hits, one left for the Blue Jays. 2-0 Rays, middle of the fourth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timbermart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. For our participating location, visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon, this evening, what time it is, wherever you're watching from all over the world. Now that we have your attention, please help us continue to grow this amazing community. We are over 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and we want to keep climbing all the way up to 250, all the way up to 1 million. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button and helping us grow this awesome community. Don't forget to turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single game of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals for both the NBA and the NHL as part of our Playoff Pulse campaign.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Joe Bowen here, voice of the Leafs. Holy Mackinac, we've passed 100,000 insiders on Toronto Sports Insider. The Playoff Pulse campaign is unstoppable. Let's aim even higher. Subscribe now and join this amazing community making a difference. Together, we're showing SickKids the power of sports fans worldwide. Let's keep growing this global community.
Hey you, yeah you, Easton Cowan, Leafs prospect here. I'm loving these Playoff Pulse live hangouts. Subscribe and turn on the bell to catch every game. Keep the chat buzzing and let's cheer for SickKids together. See you in the chat.
And Tom Young, our technical director. First pitch strike by Chris Bassett. 2-0 Rays, bottom of the fourth. Chandler Simpson tried to bunt and ran out of the boxes. That cutter landed in the zone. 0-1. About as quick as anyone in the game. Chandler Simpson, lanky left-handed hitter, sets up in an open stance. The 0-1. Swatted away foul. 0-2. It's got a bit of a unique swing. Plays into his contact ability. He really chops at the baseball. Almost like when you see some of that slap hitting in softball where you're just trying to go the other way and leg it out. That is really what Simpson is trying to do a lot of the time. 0-2. Lines the ball to right field. That's a base hit, and that's one of the harder hit balls you'll see from Simpson as he tagged that sinker in on the hands. He's got a leadoff single.
That actually wasn't a bad pitch. I know I've said that a few times tonight or today, but Chris Bassett was trying to come inside with that sinker. It leaked back just a little bit, but it was on the black. Chandler Simpson protecting with that short chop down type swing like you mentioned. And he hit that, barreled it up to right field.
He is a threat now. Taylor Walls is up to the plate, but most of the attention for the Blue Jays is probably on Simpson at first. The pitch. Low ball one. Bassett went quick on the first one, keeping Simpson and Walls a little bit off balance.
But you don't want to pay so much attention to Chandler Simpson at first base that you lose command of that pitch, whatever pitch you're throwing. Still have to make a good pitch to Taylor Walls here.
Switch hitter batting left. 1-0. Swinging a line drive foul off to the left side out of play. 1-1. Walls a defense first shortstop. A 9-pitch battle with Bassett in the second inning, but he pumped up to third. So he's 0 for 1. Bassett kicks and offers, and the runner goes. Pitch called a ball. Throw down to second. Not in time. Simpson swipes the bag, and a pitch that probably was a strike is called a ball. So everything went wrong there for the Blue Jays. It's a runner on second and a 2-1 count.
I mean, you could see just how excited Chandler Simpson was to swipe that base. He called time at second base. and kind of screamed to himself, pumping both fists.
It's his 14th stolen base of the season. On second with no outs the pitch. In the dirt, blocked by Sanchez, 3-1.
But he stole that base on Chris Bassett. That's not Ollie Sanchez's fault. He made a decent throw to second base, a decent attempt, but Chandler Simpson got in there really easily.
And this isn't Sanchez's fault either, but he steps in to what's been one of the best catching rooms in baseball in terms of throwing out runners. You figure just because it's anyone other than Kirk and Heineman, they'll probably try it a little bit today. 3-1 pitch, yanked down and in, ball 4. So Wall's aboard at first base, and there's runners on first and second. Nobody out.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, 100% Canadian owned and operated since 1992. Every Tuesday night, wings are just half price. Visit stlouiswings.com for details. You are welcome.
Finale of the Orioles-Red Sox series today. Feels like that series has been going on for 10 years with the postponements and a doubleheader, and then you have to postpone one of the doubleheader games to another one, but they are finally wrapping it up after the doubleheader split yesterday. Baltimore and Boston facing off today. It's 1-0 Orioles, bottom of the 4th at Fenway. Pitch to Cameron Meisner, misses low, ball 1. 2-0 Rays, bottom of the 4th. Runners on first and second, and nobody out. Bassett kicks and offers. Hits the zone, strike 1. Another AL East game going on later is Will Warren and the Yankees against Antonio Senzatella and the Rockies. That's a rubber match between the Yankees and the Rockies.
Didn't think you'd be saying that.
Did not. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Cutter top of the zone, 1-2. That game goes at 3:10 Eastern from Coors Field. And then the Blue Jays' next matchup coming up tomorrow is against the Texas Rangers. Rangers have lost 2 days in a row to the White Sox, but they are leading in Game 3 of that series. 2-0 is the score in favor of Texas. 1-2. Check swing liner foul off to the left. Two-run homer from Jake Berger. I believe they call that a smash burger in Arlington these days. That has Texas on the board, although they got some tough news today. Jock Peterson hit by a pitch yesterday, broke his right hand. He's on the injured list. 1-2. Rounded towards second base. Vladdy cuts off Clement, throws to second. That's the only out they'll get. Guerrero made the play over to second, but I think when they look on video, they might say, hey, let Clement get that one and increase their chances at a double play. Probably don't get it anyway. It's fielder's choice, and runners on the corners. 1 out.
Now that double play is still in order. I'm not sure how the Blue Jays will play this, but Ben Rortvet's up, who's a double play candidate. You make a good pitch down and away, see if you can get out of this inning here without giving up a run.
I just wonder if Clement gets that ball. Maybe. Probably still not a double play. Wasn't hit all that hard.
Especially with Cameron Meisner running.
Right. He's got good speed. 66 pitches so far for Bassett. Gave up a 2-run homer in the first, and he's dealt with a base runner in all 3 innings since, but hasn't allowed a run since. Corners in, first pitch. Rortvedt squares to bunt, pops it up way high toward the third base dugout, but it had enough juice on it to get out of the reach of Vladdy. It lands on the dirt just in front of the fence of the first base dugout. A foul ball to make it 0-1.
Well, Vlad did everything he could. He sprinted hard towards that baseball, just out of his reach.
The look we're getting, Chandler Simpson was not stealing on that. So that wasn't a suicide squeeze, but rather a safety squeeze attempt from the Rays. See if he goes for it again. Middle playing halfway in. Corner infielders are playing in. The 0-1. Rortvedt squares. Pops it up again. Guerrero shielding his eyes from the sun. Makes the catch. Looks off the runner Simpson at third. And there are 2 down on poor execution there from Rortvedt.
Well, if you suspect somebody's going to bunt, just like the Blue Jays did with Ben Rortvedt, it's good to throw a fastball, a cutter, something to the top of the strike zone so you get that result. You get them to pop it up, and a good job from Chris Bassett, a really well-executed pitch.
So room now for Bassett to work out of trouble. 2-0 for the Rays. Runners on the corners for Tampa Bay. 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Bassett facing the top of the order hitter, Yandy Diaz. Diaz is due 0 for 10 so far in the series. Bassett has got him to fly out to left and strike out swinging. Right-hander steps onto the hill. Comes set near his chest. And the pitch. Called a strike. Runner takes off from first and a deep throw by Sanchez. He's going to let Meisner swipe second. Looking back, Simpson. A stolen base for Meisner, so it's second and third now in an 0-1 count.
Oh, the Blue Jays were just giving Cameron Meisner that bag. They didn't want to throw through and then see Chandler Simpson get to home plate easily. I'm sure he would. If you throw through on that play, Chandler Simpson is taking home plate, no problem.
For Meisner, his 6th stolen base of the year. He hasn't been caught yet. He's on second. Simpson's on third. Wide open stance for Diaz. The 0-1. Down and in. Diaz a little unique in his setup. He almost faces his chest towards the pitcher, Chris Bassett. He's not just open in his stance, but his body is turned towards the mound as well. Holds his hand maybe a foot, half a foot off of his left side. 1-1. Takes a pitch, a bouncer on the right side of the plate. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, he has an intimidating presence in that batter's box. A really big guy. Doesn't have a ton of pop, but certainly looks like he does, that's for sure.
He could be one of those guys. You never know that. If he sold out for power in the middle of his career, maybe he would have hit a bunch of homers. In his .330 season, he hit 22 homers. Feels like if he didn't want to hit for average, maybe he could have been a 25, 30 homer guy once or twice. Bassett's going to step off the hill now. Diaz steps out. Cuban DH back in. And now there's a bit of a discussion. Diaz did not get back in the box in time after Bassett stepped off. And Alfonso Marquez is going to call an automatic strike on Yandy Diaz, who is not very happy right now. Kevin Cash coming out. And it's been a bit of a week for Kevin Cash at umpires. He avoided suspension after getting into a very heated discussion and getting ejected from a game a couple days ago. He did get fined an undisclosed amount by the majors. And now talking with Alfonso Marquez, a little bit upset again.
This isn't a very heated discussion. They're pretty close, but they're not screaming at each other. I think Kevin Cash is really just trying to figure out what went wrong here.
Bassett had stepped off. That resets the clock, but in theory, even though it's not always how it goes in practice, the clock is supposed to restart right away. I think it did restart right away. So Diaz, who took a moment for himself, he stepped back into the box, but he wasn't alert to the pitcher at the time he was supposed to be.
Well, Yandy Diaz is still questioning what happened. Still trying to figure out the whole situation, but that's 2 strikes on him now. That's a big call potentially in this ball game.
Instead of 2-1, it's 2-2. Second and third, 2 outs, 2-0 for the Rays. Bottom of the 4th. The pitch home. Up and in, ball 3. Diaz currently sitting on 754 hits as a member of the Rays, 7th most in their franchise's history, 2 away from Kevin Kiermaier. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gets him on a breaking ball, down and away. Diaz down to a knee on the chase, and that will do it for the bottom of the 4th. A lot of danger in that inning after the first 2 reached, but it's no runs on a hit, no errors, 2 left for the Rays. Still 2-0 Tampa Bay after 4 innings. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center.
Cheers, insiders! What a day, what a night, what a Blue Jays game. Thank you for being here. Now's the time of the show where I get to just stop and say thank you. Thank you so much for helping me create this amazing community of Toronto sports fans from all over the world. All over, I mean everywhere. It is absolutely amazing to see a group of people come together and make a difference. Our April donation is over $1,500 just in April alone. Just by being here, you're making a difference. And I just had to say thank you because we are achieving huge things. Hopefully, this summer, we're going to get up to Toronto to visit SickKids. Maybe catch a TFC game and a Blue Jays game. We'll see. Maybe we'll see some of you there. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for keeping it classy. Thank you for helping grow this channel by doing all of that cool YouTube stuff, liking, sharing. If you're new, subscribing, turn on that bell. All that cool stuff really, really, really helps because then we bring in more people to make a difference. Thank you. Now let's get back to the baseball. Come on, Blue Jays. Let's go.
Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app. Sportsnet Radio Network.
Ernie Clement takes the pitch inside. No, it's called a strike by Alfonso Marquez, and we're underway in the top of the fifth inning. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 2-0 Rays, and the 0-1 pitch hit on the ground foul. 0-2. This fifth inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. It's been an effective and efficient day for Ryan Pepio. His 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Nordfeld looking to tag Clement, who was dancing around near the plate after swinging at a pitch in the dirt. There's one down. Let's go over quickly to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Dylan Carlson with his first home run of the season, a former Ray and former Cardinal, homering for the Orioles. He's up because Tyler O'Neill is back on the injured list, and the Orioles have doubled their lead up 2-0 on the Boston Red Sox. One out, the pitch called a strike to Jonathan Clase, 0-1. Red Sox open today half a game ahead of the Blue Jays, so Blue Jays fans likely rooting for the Orioles in that matchup. 0-1 pitch, high, check swing, appeal down to third, no swing. This is Carlos Torres, who is wearing some sort of balaclava today. So I guess prevents you from a sunburn, but it can't make it any cooler. The 1-1. Called a strike, changeup just caught the top part of the zone, 1-2. All of our out-of-town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Blue Jays out of town for a third game of 6 on the road trip. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Pepio. He's up to 4 on the day, and there are 2 quick outs here in the top of the fifth.
That's a really good sequence right there from Ben Rortvedt and Ryan Pepio. Threw a changeup on the previous pitch and then just absolutely blew 96 by Jonathan Clase.
2 down, pitch to Ali Sanchez. Called a strike. Second at bat for Sanchez. He was robbed of a hit in his first one on a diving stop by Brandon Lau, the second baseman. Overall, it's the 39th Major League game in his career. Swings at the 0-1, lifts it foul to the right, 0-2. Having a pretty solid year so far with AAA Buffalo. 28 games. He's batting in the 250s with an on-base plus slugging in the 760s. 2 doubles, 5 homers, 15 RBIs in 28 games. Previous Major League experience, mostly with the Marlins, a little bit with the Cardinals and Mets. 0-2. Fastball yanked down and away at 96. Really popped the glove of Rortvedt there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He was looking to strike out the side.
Just 63 pitches on the ballgame for Pepio. 2 outs here in the top of the fifth inning.
1-2. Lifted toward right field. Pretty shallow. Brandon Lau shading his eyes from the sun, and it drops in. Lau had called for it, and then all of a sudden he was ducking away like he was worried that ball was going to hit him, and it dropped in just beside him. So baseball takes 1 away and then gives 1 back to Ali Sanchez. Thanks to the conditions, I think that'll go as a hit. No one touched it. He's on first.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit. Unfortunately for Ryan Pepio, but earlier in the ballgame, Brandon Lau stole that base hit away from Sanchez, and then, like you said, he just gives it right back there.
In my scorebook, it says a base hit to right field. That's all that matters. Pitch to Miles Straw, roped out to left, and caught. Chandler Simpson brings it in to end the inning. 2-0 Rays, middle of the fifth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hello, it's me, Katie Nolan, host of Casuals on the SiriusXM Podcast Network. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm joined by some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment to break down our favorite news stories from the sports world and beyond. It really doesn't matter what level of sports fandom or knowledge you have, just bring what you've got. We're all here to have fun and learn together. No judgments. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Love you. Mean it.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
5 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 and on the SiriusXM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
This is John Palmerosi. This week on the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Fred McGriff.
You got less than 1 second to decide if you're going to swing or not. Your teammates can't help you. When you're up there in that batter's box, it's just you against this pitcher. That's why baseball is a great game.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the SiriusXM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Alexa. Did you know you can listen to this game on devices with Amazon Alexa? Download the SiriusXM app, then tell me to play the Blue Jays on SiriusXM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Blue Jays Baseball is presented by Crown Rust Protection. Bottom of the fifth inning, Blue Jays in Tampa at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Wrapping up this series against the Rays. 2-0 Tampa Bay. The pitch to Josh Lowe is inside. Ball one. Well, it's been real nice for the Rays to have Josh Lowe back, a guy who was huge for them when they had a massive season overall in 2023. 1-0. Fouled back, 1-1. It's easy to forget because they've been about 500 for 2 years since, a little below that actually, but Rays won 99 games in 2023, and Lowe was a massive part of that. Had 20 homers that year, batted near 300, over 30 doubles as well. 1-1 is lined out to right, screaming toward the corner. It hooks foul into the seats, 1-2. You go back to 2023, so 20 homers, 30 doubles, and 30 steals. Josh Lowe had that. Only 6 other guys had that with him. Ronald Acuna, Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Tucker, Julio Rodriguez, and Trey Turner. All of them all-stars or guys who are usually all-stars in other seasons.
It's almost like if you ask somebody to put together a list of guys, I feel like most people guessing would leave out Josh Lowe.
Sure. You think of some of the best power speed guys in the game. 2-2. High, ball 3. And a really talented player was picked 13th overall by the Rays out of high school in 2016. Three-two pitch. Chopped over the hill, up the middle, and through into center, a base hit. Couldn't have placed that better, right in between where Clemente and Bichette set up before the pitch. It's a second knock of the day for Josh Lowe.
And that's just tough luck for Chris Bassett. Josh Lowe was able to get the barrel to that baseball. Didn't hit it all that hard, just a bouncer up the middle. Ernie Clement and Bo Bichette converge on that ball, but it just sneaks through to center field.
Already the 7th hit of the day for the Tampa Bay Rays, who also have reached twice on walks. They're up 2-0. They probably could be up a whole lot more. First pitch smashed by Lowe out to left center field, and that's down for a hit. Cut off by Straw. Lowe making the turnaround second, headed for third, and the throw goes into second base. It's runners on the corners for the Rays. Nobody out.
How about Brandon Lau continues to hit the ball well against Chris Bassett. 3 for 3 in this ball game. That was a fastball away, almost on the black, and Lau, who has shown that pull power today, he goes the other way and lines a good line drive to left center. Josh Lowe ends up at third base.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Ali Sanchez walks out to the hill, puts his arm around Chris Bassett. They're going to have a discussion here as Bassett looks to pull a rabbit out of a hat. He had first and second, nobody out in the fourth, and managed to make it a scoreless inning, but first and third, nobody out is a whole different challenge.
And that run at third base is very important. It's a 2-0 ball game. But if you take it to 3-0, that seems like a lot bigger gap.
Batting for the Rays is Junior Caminero, young phenom third baseman. He's 0 for 2 today. He's hit it on the ground twice, a ground out to third and then a ground ball double play to short. Blue Jays are playing the infield in at all spots, and they shift toward third base. Bassett kicks and fires. Fastball at the knees to get ahead 0-1.
The fact that the Blue Jays have brought the infield in with nobody out in this inning tells you just how important that run is at third base.
Blue Jays need to keep it as close as possible because they have not had a lot going on with the bats. Only 3 hits, all singles. 0-1. Called low, borderline pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a good pitch. If you're Chris Bassett here, especially with 1 strike on Caminero, the goal is to strike him out. You don't want him to put the barrel to the baseball, potentially sneak one through that drawn-in infield.
Low leading off third in foul territory, the 1-1. Hit on the ground right side and threw a base hit into right field. Lowe comes in to score. Lau around second, headed for third. Into second base goes Caminero with an RBI double. It's 3-0 Rays in the 5th.
He didn't get all of it, but with that infield drawn in, it's a lot easier to get that ball through to the outfield. I think he got jammed on that pitch on the inside part of the plate, maybe off the plate, but such a strong guy, he's able to muscle that ball into right field for a double and an RBI.
Junior Caminero is 8th double of the year, 24th RBI. It's the first time in the series that the Rays have scored on anything other than a home run. And it's only their second hit with a runner in scoring position in the series. Both of them have come from Junior Caminero. John Schneider walking out to the hill right now. Mason Fluharty was warming up, and this might be it for Chris Bassett. 3-0 Rays, second and third, no outs, bottom of the 5th. Schneider talking with Bassett right now. And he will make the point down to the bullpen. So Bassett stayed done after 4, plus Fluharty about to come in. And let's go over to today's host after a pitching change, brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Let's check in on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. And as we often have, we'll start with the Stanley Cup playoffs. We are in the midst of the conference finals. So last night, we got Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final. And now that game was tied 1-1 heading into the third period, but the Panthers really turning it on in that third period. A 5-goal barrage, all of them coming from the Panthers in a span of 9 minutes. They would go on to win that game 6-2 over the Hurricanes, who are now 0-15 in their last 15 Eastern Conference Final games, dating back a number of years. Panthers now, of course, have a 3-0 series lead, Game 4, which could be a decider. Will be in Sunrise tomorrow night. This afternoon, starting in literally a couple of minutes, we do have Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. This series split at 1 game apiece. The Oilers at home welcoming the Stars into Edmonton. Puck drop of this game, again, scheduled for 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. We're past that now, so they're just getting the pregame stuff out of the way, and puck drop will go on Sportsnet and the CBC in a matter of moments. We also had some front office news from the other day. The Islanders officially announcing their new GM. Former NHL player Matthew Darch has been named the general manager and executive vice president on Long Island. He will manage all aspects of the team's hockey operations. That's from the team itself. Darch played 250 career NHL games for 5 teams, including the Lightning, where following his retirement, he was previously assistant GM and director of hockey ops since 2019. Blue Jays baseball, as always, is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here are Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much. The lefty Mason Fluharty, pitching on consecutive days, is into this ball game for his 22nd career Major League appearance. The rookie with a 2.14 ERA. He's given up 5 earned runs in 21 innings pitched. But it's not his runs he's concerned about right now. It's inherited runners. 3-0 game in favor of the Rays. Tough spot for Fluharty. Second and third, nobody out. Jonathan Aranda, the left-handed hitter, coming up. Fluharty kicks and offers. First pitch popped up. Third base side foul. Sanchez and Barger giving it a look. It drops several rows deep into the seats. 0-1.
And a lot like Junior Caminero to Chris Bassett, if you're Mason Fluharty standing out on that mound right now with 2 big runs on second and third, you're ahead in the count. You want to strike out Jonathan Aranda or at least get a pop-up.
Fluharty's been about a strikeout an inning this season. 0-1. Bounces the sweeper. It rolls around in between the legs of Sanchez, but not far enough away from him for anyone to take off. It's 1-1.
I think Sanchez actually whiffed on that ball. It just hit his foot. Stayed in front of him.
It actually hit the foot of Alfonso Marquez, the home plate ump. Might have saved the Blue Jays a run. The 1-1. Chopped on the ground to second. Clement throws home. And the tag not applied in time. Lau, they said, slid around it. The ball was thrown to the first base side. Sanchez backhanded reach back to the third base side. But it looked like he would have been there in time to tag Lau. So now the question is, did he slide around it? The Blue Jays don't think so. They're disagreeing with Alfonso Marquez and asking for a review.
Well, I think even if there's really no evidence in that Blue Jays dugout, you have to take a look at this. I think he's out at home plate. I thought he was out on the play. And after seeing that review, I still think he's out. That's a big call in this ball game.
Trying to get a good look at it. We have one look where we can see when Lau touches the plate, but it's hard to see the tag on that look. If he did make it in, I think it's because Sanchez might have actually extended a little too far, tagging the body of Lau, who was sliding off to the right of the plate and sticking his hand in there. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a review that tells me anything either way.
I think if I was the home plate umpire, I would have called him out on the play. Seeing the review, it's relatively close. I'm not going to say that was a good or bad call one way or the other, but I still think he's out. You have to, I mean, that ball beat him. It wasn't a bad tag. I think he's out.
Tag went kind of into the forearm of Brandon Lau. I just don't know, and I think this call is going to stand. I don't know about you.
If the call in the field is out, I think the call stands. If the call in the field is safe, I think it stands. I think it's just one of those plays where it's kind of in between. There's no real evidence one way or the other. I think it's 4-0 ball game, unfortunately, for the Toronto Blue Jays.
It's a fielder's choice for Aranda. Either way, he's going to be on first.
After review, the call stands. The runner is safe. Toronto will lose their tally.
And so the call will stand, making that an RBI. Fielder's choice for Aranda. He's on first. Caminero's on second. It's now 4-0 Tampa Bay. They have their highest run total of the series, and they're still threatening with nobody out in the bottom of the fifth.
That's too bad for the Jays. It was a nice play from Ernie Clement. He made a good throw home. Ali Sanchez actually made a decent tag attempt, and Brandon Lau was able to just sneak that glove in there. Really nice slide from him.
Pitch to Chandler Simpson. Squares to bunt, puts it down toward third. Actually dropped the bat while he was doing it, and he hit it foul. So it's 0-1. That was not really a sacrifice attempt from Simpson. He was trying to get himself aboard, showing late there with the bunt attempt. Speedy Simpson batting .295 after his single in the fourth. He's 1 for 2. Look at second in the 0-1. Squares again this time earlier and gets it down on the line. It rolls foul third base side. 0-2.
Good job from Addison Barger at third base. He saw that ball potentially going foul. He waited for it to cross that foul line and then quickly snatched it up.
Like Sanchez was barking to him too to not touch that ball.
That was more Sanchez than Addison Barger. I gave credit to Barger. That's all Sanchez there.
It's a team sport. 4-0 Rays, bottom of the fifth. All 4 runs charged to Chris Bassett. Bassett still responsible for Caminero on second as well. First and second, no outs. Fluharty looks at second. And the 0-2. Hit on a line, out to center field, a base hit. Caminero coming around third. He'll come in to score. It's 5-0 Rays. Both Bassett runs have scored, and now first and second again with nobody out in the fifth.
Even though the majority of scouts think that Chandler Simpson is just a guy that has a bunch of speed and not much else, I've been pretty impressed by him. The ability to get the bat to the baseball, get the barrel to that baseball more often than not. Pretty good swing right there, staying on that tough cutter from Mason Fluharty for a big base hit and an RBI here in this ball game.
Was interesting around the time he came up. Some reporters were bringing up those perceptions to Kevin Cash, and Cash said, quote, at every level people have scratched their heads and said, quote, is this going to work? Is this going to play? And it's played, and then some. RBI single by Simpson, 5-0 Rays. Now all the runners owed to the lefty Fluharty. The pitch to Taylor Walls, switch hitter turns around to bat right, pulls back the bunt and takes a strike, although that pitch was not in the zone. It's 0-1. Mention how good of a defender Walls has been a couple times. Could argue right now he's the best defensive shortstop in baseball. 0-1. That pitch is outside somehow, even though the last one was further outside. 1-1.
And now Mason Fluharty wants that pitch because he got the previous pitch.
Coming into this series, though, 1 error and 186 chances at short for Taylor Walls. The 1-1. Inside, 2-1. And Walls entered the series leading all Major League shortstops with 12 defensive runs saved. For context, last year, no one had more than 14. We're not even a third of the way through the season. He's already collected 12. 2-1. Outside, 3-1.
There's still nobody out in this inning, Ben.
Yeah, this has been a good inning for the Rays, less so for the Blue Jays. 4 hits and a fielder's choice, 3 runs in already. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay. Fluharty's pitch. Hit on the ground, foul. 3-2. It's felt like a bit of a yo-yo recently. The Blue Jays sweep the Padres, and now they're in serious danger of being swept by the Rays. 3-2 pitch lifted out toward right field. Springer sprinting toward the foul line, pulls up. That ball is down, and that's a fair ball. Coming up to third is Aranda. To second is Simpson. The bases are loaded.
Well, I don't think many people in the ballpark thought that ball would be fair, thought that the wind would push that thing into foul territory. George Springer had to run a long way, wasn't able to catch that ball. That ball actually landed on the chalk down that right field line. A big base hit for Taylor Walls, who really isn't having that great of a season offensively.
You could see the white chalk fly up as we got another look at that one. So now the infield's in again. Bases loaded, nobody out. Rays have 5 hits this inning. Pitch to Cameron Meisner. Ball to strike. Meisner 1 for 2 today. A single, fielder's choice, stolen base. 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Blue Jays actually have brought the infield in again in a 5-0 ball game. It's pretty rare.
Trying to do anything they can to stick around a little bit, be in this game. 1-1. Low 2-1. And every run is precious. They've scored 2 runs total in the series. 5-run deficit's a lot, but 6-run deficit feels like a whole lot more. It's almost like every run feels like it counts for 10 right now. 2-1. Up and in, ball 3.
Mason Fluharty has to throw a strike here. Bases loaded, nobody out. Behind in the count 3-1. I guess the only thing I could think of bringing the infield in with the bases loaded down by 5 is you're probably not going to double up Cameron Meisner in this situation, a guy with a lot of speed.
3-1 pitch. Fouled back, full count. All 3 of these base runners are Mason Fluharty's. He came in and allowed the fielder's choice to Arana. I mean, he got the ground ball, but the Blue Jays didn't make the play at the plate. And then the single up the middle by Simpson, and the looping single to right by Walls. 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4. Could have gone either way, but that'll be a bases loaded walk. It's 6-0 Rays. Still no outs in the bases loaded in the 5th.
Well, Ali Sanchez did everything he could to bring that ball back. It was probably outside by a hair, but that's a big walk in this inning. 6-0 now for the Tampa Bay Rays as Paxton Schultz starts to get loose.
18 pitches for Fluharty, has not recorded an out thus far. Rookie faces Ben Rortvedt. 6-0 Rays, and the bases loaded. And time is called behind the plate first by Alfonso Marquez. Rortvedt 0 for 1. Bunted a pop-up foul to first base in the 4th. Walked in the 2nd. The pitch is cut on and missed. Strike 1.
Blue Jays still have the infield in.
I think they're just trying to do everything they can to stay in the ballgame. Clement playing on the grass. 0-1. Hit well. Out to right field. Springer racing towards the line. That drops in a base hit. In to score from third, Simpson. Walls right behind him. Up to third base goes Meisner. It's a 2-run single for Rortvedt, and an 8-0 Rays lead. Still nobody out in the 5th.
I bet 9 times out of 10 that ball is caught by George Springer. It was perfectly placed. George Springer was shaded a little bit towards center field in that right field alley kind of, and just wasn't able to track down that fly ball. 2 RBIs for Ben Rortvedt. Like you said, 8-0 now for the Tampa Bay Rays.
It was a 2-0 game when we entered this bottom of the 5th inning. 8 straight Rays have reached, and now we'll have a second pitching change of the frame, brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian. First and third, nobody out. 8-0 Rays in the 5th. Let's go back to our host, Show Ali.
Thanks, Ben. Let's keep checking on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out of town scoreboard. And last time we visited, we said the Oilers Stars Game 3 in Edmonton was just about to get going. Well, it just started mere seconds in, 0-0, as you might imagine. You can watch it on Sportsnet and the CBC with this series tied at 1 game apiece. Over in the NBA, we have also gotten to the middle of the conference finals. So last night, we got a blowout win for the Timberwolves, who got their first win of the Western Conference Finals, a 143-101 win for Minnesota over OKC, though the Thunder still do lead the series 2-1. Game 4 in Minnesota will go Monday night, tomorrow night. Tip-off will go just after 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. The Pacers also continuing to look great in crunch time. They beat the Knicks in Game 2, 114-109, the final score. I know many of you will be pleased to hear this next part, but Pascal Siakam scoring a playoff career-high 39 points. He went 15 from 23 from the field on a night nobody else on the Pacers had more than 5 made baskets, which is pretty incredible, honestly. Jalen Brunson had 36 points and 11 assists, but the Knicks need to turn things around quickly before Game 3, which will go later tonight in Indiana. Tip-off will be just after 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Blue Jays baseball, as always, is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here are Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much. So, new pitcher in the game is Paxton Schultz. Saw Schultz yesterday in his 3rd Major League appearance. He makes his 4th now. He's got a ERA right around 3.5. Native of Utah, has thrown 7 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs for Schultz, 2 walks in those 7 2/3, and 11 strikeouts. He was pretty good yesterday. Came in for that 8th inning, got 3 ground balls, and got out of the inning quick.
Well, his job now is to just fill up that strike zone, get as many outs as he possibly can. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 2, 3, even 4 innings in this. Well, I guess he could go 4 innings.
That would be the rest of the outs potentially. I don't think either of us are predicting a bottom of the 9th, but crazier things have happened. 6-run frame for the Rays. 1st and 3rd for Tampa Bay right now. Still nobody out. Yandy Diaz is the last Ray that hasn't hit yet in this inning. He's up now. Right on right. The pitch from Paxton Schultz. High ball 1. 4-seamer, cutter, slider, changeup for the big righty. Diaz 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a flyout. 1-0. Hit high in the air out to right field. Springer using his right hand to shade his eyes. Coming near the foul line. He reaches out. It drops in and bounces over the wall. That's going to be a ground rule double for Yandy Diaz and a 9-0 Rays lead. 2nd and 3rd. Still nobody out.
Well, George Springer did everything he could to try to find that baseball. He's looking directly up at the sun. That sun is right above the field right now. I don't know if that's is that a double because it hit off his glove. Am I wrong?
No,
there?
It skips out of play. That's double.
Oh boy, that's tough luck for Paxton Schultz.
So all 9 Rays have hit, and there are nobody out. Here's the 10th batter of the inning. It's Josh Lowe again. Called strike. 9-0 Tampa Bay. 2nd and 3rd. Diaz on 2nd. Rortvedt on 3rd. Bottom of the 5th. Schultz tucks it into his glove. A breath. And his 0-1. Lifted foul off to the left. 0-2. Well, it seems like the Rays are settling into playing in this ballpark. They did not have a great start to the year at this ballpark. 9-16 in their first 25. They're still 15-18 overall right now at home. They're 6-2 in the last 8. Looks like they'll be 7-2 in the last 9. 0-2 pitch is hit on the ground, snared at second by Clement. Spinning, he looks off the runner at 3rd and throws over to 1st for the out. Now Rortvedt caught in between 3rd and home. It's going to be a rundown. Vladdy running right at Rortvedt, who's just given himself up here. Diaz advances to 3rd. That was a weird one from Rortvedt. The Blue Jays will take the extra out. 2 down on a 4-3 double play.
Well, I think Paxton Schultz deserves that. He got that first out. George Springer misplayed. Well, I guess he didn't misplay it. The ball was just caught up in that sun. And he gets 2 quick outs there, pointing over at 3rd base. Like you said, Ben Rortvedt just caught in no man's land in between home and 3rd base. A nice play from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., just running over, not making a throw and tagging him out.
I mean, you're up 9-0 and there's nobody out. Just stay at 3rd. First pitch to Brandon Lau. Whiffs on it. Change up low. 0-1. So 2 down. 9-0 for the Rays. Bottom of the 5th with a runner on 3rd. Lau's had his hands all over this game. 3 for 3. 2-run homer and a pair of singles. 0-1. Swinging a fly ball out to left. Backing up, Clase makes the catch to end the inning. The Rays score 7 runs in the frame, and they take a 9-0 lead to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Which Looney Dogger are you? Do you approach Tuesdays with swagger and style? You could be a Rizzy Glizzy. Maybe you're an architect stacking your Looney Dogs up high. Do you walk into the ballpark with the confidence of an MVD? Then you're the most valuable dogger. This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. No matter which Looney Dogger you are, you'll have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the ballpark. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Every Tuesday home game. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Crown.com. At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Sportsnet Plus is the streaming home of the Blue Jays.
Oh, what a catch!
Stream over 150 Blue Jays games all season long.
You won't see this anywhere else.
Including pre- and post-game coverage with Jamie and Joe on Blue Jays Central.
One of the best in the game right here.
Watch all the Blue Jays action wherever you are, at home or on the go.
Don't you love baseball?
Plans start from $24.99 a month.
We are good to go.
Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
0-2 swing and a miss, strike three.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
After a long wait, Ryan Pepio back on the hill for the Rays. 9-0. Tampa Bay leads Toronto. Pepio's pitch to Bo Bichette is hit out toward right field, and that's going to be caught by Josh Lowe. 1 out.
A little bit easier of a fly ball for that right fielder, Josh Lowe, because that one was a low line drive. The one that George Springer misplayed out there in right field was a really tough high pop-up.
Sure, the Blue Jays at one point said, hey, at least it's not the Trop. I don't know if they're going to leave feeling that way. Rays up 9-0, looking for a sweep. Blue Jays only have 3 hits today and 1 walk. All 3 hits are singles. Pitcher to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Taking all the way, takes high ball 1. Vladdy has been on twice. He's half of the Blue Jays base runners so far. Singled off the wall in the first and walked in a full count in the fourth. The 1-0. Takes again. That pitch is low. 1 ball, 1 strike. I wonder if Vlad's just buying some time. They were just on the field for maybe half an hour.
That's some serious savvy right there from Vlad.
Now he takes down an in 2-1. That time he had the full stride and load, but the first 2 it really looked like he was just going to let the pitches go by.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was headed to the on-deck circle, John Schneider, or somebody in that dugout.
2-1 pitch. Called a strike. Looked low, but it's been an interesting zone today. 2-2.
Just said, hey, take a strike. Take until you get a strike, and that's exactly what Vladimir Jr. looked like he was doing there.
The wind in the 2-2. Hit hard on the ground, backhanded at short walls, falling away, skips the ball to first just in time. A 3-hopper beats Guerrero. It's a nice play from Taylor Walls. Vlad was running, but that might be the best defensive shortstop in the game.
Well, you were singing his praises earlier in the ball game, and he comes through there with an incredible play. Such a smart play, not trying to get to first base on the fly. A 3-hopper to first base for the out. What a smart play. What an athletic play over there in that hole.
Might have been 2 hops. I might have given him a bonus bounce there. First pitch to Santander, called a strike, 0-1. And although it doesn't look like it, that's actually usually the faster way to get the ball there than when you lob it up in the air falling away.
It was 2 hops. I just saw the replay.
My bad. 0-1 pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 9-0 Rays. 2 outs, bases empty. Top of the 6th. Pepio cruising. 1-1. Down and in, 2-1. Right-hander facing the plate, shakes out his shoulders, steps to the left, kicks and deals. And the 2-1 is yanked down and in, 3-1. Pepio a little frustrated. I don't know how you can be right now. I mean, he's pitching with a 9-0 lead in the 6th.
Well, I mean, he's been pretty efficient so far in this ballgame. Just 75 pitches now, almost through the 6th inning. So I guess you can kind of understand the frustration.
3-1 fouled back, 3-2. Hit the mask of Rortvedt. Take off the helmet for a sec. I guess I'm just telling him, like, give yourself a break. You'll be fine. You're going to miss every once in a while.
Well, I guess when the mindset when you're up or down really 9-0, just fill up the strike zone. Maybe that's where the frustration is coming from. Hey, I want to get out of here. I want to go shower up or get in my car or whatever he's going to do after the ball game. Just fill up the strike zone and let Anthony Santander get the bat to the baseball.
3-2 pitch, cut on a miss, strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Pepio. He's got 5 Ks and 6 scoreless in the middle of the 6th. The Rays leading 9-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Excuse me, I gotta get that grill running.
Make the most of your long weekend with music specials for every activity on the SiriusXM app. From the hottest hip-hop party mixes to feel-good classic rock countdowns and exclusive artist-hosted summer specials. Find the perfect soundtracks for grilling, chilling, and more. Just search Memorial Day on the SiriusXM app.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have a take and don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, this show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
This is Xavier Scruggs from the leadoff spot. Join me and Danny Wexelman Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern as we recap all the action from the weekend in baseball, including a clash between 2 of the NL's best, as Juan Soto and the Mets host Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. We'll give you all the big plays from all the big games in case you missed it, and take you around the bases with all the top stories of the day. All that and more in the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and the SiriusXM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM
Radio Network.
It's the 6th inning, brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance, it's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Michael Stefanik subbing into the ball game for the Blue Jays. He's going to play second base right now. Ernie Clement shifts over to shortstop. Bo Bichette will get some rest with the Blue Jays in the big deficit. Still Paxton Schultz on the hill. He faces Junior Caminero. Right on right, the pitch from Schultz. Outside, ball 1. Seven-run fifth by the Rays. Team that has struggled to score a lot of the time, but hasn't looked like it today. 1-0 pitch, hit on the ground is short. Ernie Clement's first play over there is gathered and tossed on to first for the out.
That's a good job from Paxton Schultz. Just fill up that strike zone. That's just your job right now. You don't want to be walking guys. You don't want to be out on that field any longer than you have to be. Good pitch from him. 1 quick out.
And Schultz, he came in, he faced Yandy Diaz. That sun-aided ground rule double is technically his only mistake, but he got weak contact, and the sun just prevented George Springer from catching it. Then he gets the ground out into the weird double play where Rortvedt gets tagged on a run down. Then he ends the inning on a Lau lineout. He's been effective. Pitch to Jonathan Aranda, called to strike, 0-1. Aranda, the left-handed hitter, batting with 1 out and the bases empty. A 1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Changeup at the top of the zone, 0-2. And it's always important for guys in spots like Schultz to impress. He does not have a secure spot. Has been up and down already from AAA this season. Oh-2. Outside 1-2.
And there's probably the high likelihood of him getting optioned after a ball game like this, after throwing 2, 3, even 4 innings. But I can guarantee you that is not on his mind right now. Like you said, it's his job out there to impress.
1-2. Just outside with a fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We talked about, I can't remember if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, potential logjam in the bullpen, some guys getting healthy. 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Elevated the cutter, 2 down.
Well, I've definitely been impressed with him so far, even though he gave up that double to the first batter faced. He just fills up the strike zone. It looks like he's confident out there. It looks like he's not trying to do too much. When you get young guys into a ball game like this, yes, it's not high leverage, but they're still trying to do too much. Like you said, they're trying to impress. They're trying to make their stuff better than it actually is. I don't think Paxton Schultz does that.
His pitch to Chandler Simpson, lined out to center field. Straw coming in, sliding backhanded catch. Nice play to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Paxton Schultz, and we go to the 7th. It's the Rays 9, the Blue Jays nothing. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Arrive early to receive your Blue Jays Cricket Warm-Up Jacket giveaway, presented by TD, created in collaboration with Cricket Canada. Don't miss out on being a part of the Cricket Day spectacle at Rogers Center. Find your seats at bluejays.com.
Drywall, an essential part of many, many projects. It's important to get it right and start with quality materials. Essentials you'll always find competitively priced at Timber Mart, like CGC, a recognized giant in the drywall industry for over 100 years and leading Canadian manufacturer of gypsum drywall. Well established and reputable, building pros and contractors know CGC, and you get exactly what the best builders trust. That's as sexy as drywall gets. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Every Friday home game is a City Connect Friday. On Friday, May 30th, the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark will receive a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. City Connect replica hockey jersey giveaway. City Connect Fridays, night mode. Lights up, let's go. For tickets, visit bluejays.com.
Hi, this is Tyler Heineman, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Seventh inning in Tampa. Seventh inning that's brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Ryan Pepio misses up top to George Springer. We're underway in the 7th. 9-0 for the Rays. 3 hits and 1 walk allowed by the righty, who deals an 0-1. Called low, 50-50 pitch. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Pretty remarkable. Pepio has not allowed a base runner to get into scoring position today. 2-0. Lifted, right side foul. First baseman Aranda blocking out the sun onto the side warning track. Reaches out and snatches that one. Kind of swiped at it with his left hand. I'm not sure he totally knew where it was, but he made the catch. 1 out.
That was a look what I found type of catch. You can see him tilting his head after he made that catch, pointing up at the sun. That was a tough one. That was a really tough one, but he did a good job of shading his eyes with his glove and then reaching out and making that catch.
Couple defensive subs for the Rays we'll get to in a sec, but first the pitch high and outside to Addison Barger. Ball 1 with 1 out and the base is empty. Like the Blue Jays on this hot day in a somewhat of a blowout game right now, the Rays are going to get some guys in. 1-0. Hit foul, back off to the left, out of play, 1-1. Brandon Lau and Josh Lowe both coming out. Lau plays almost every day, and Lowe just returned from injury, so they'll get them both off their feet. Christopher Morel has replaced Lowe in right field and second in the batting order. Curtis Meade has replaced Lau at second and third in the batting order as Barger fouls off the 1-1 to make it 1-2. 5 strikeouts today for the right-hander Ryan Pepiot, including one on Barger in the second. Got him with a fastball that time. Righty nods and the 1-2. In the dirt, Barger twitched a little but did not swing on the changeup low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a good take right there on a tough changeup. Looked like a fastball, and that's the big thing about Pepiot's changeup. It looks like a fastball, and that's why it's so effective.
And this has been one of the best days Pepiot has had, not just this season, but overall. His 2-2 is down and away at 95. Still electric stuff in the 7th. Ball 3.
I would imagine at 85 pitches now with 1 out in this inning, this might be his last inning.
I mean, he has not typically pitched this deep into games. 3-2. Hopped up. Back behind home. Rordfed holding his mask, shielding his eyes from the sun. That one drops into the 5th or 6th row behind home plate. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I'm sure Ben Rordfed was looking up at that ball thinking, I have no idea where that thing is.
Pepiot, by the way, this is the longest start in terms of innings pitched in his career since 2023 with the Dodgers. 3-2. Hit well out to left center field. On the run, Meisner, and races to it to make the catch. That ball looked destined for the gap in left center, and Meisner just picked up speed and cut it off. Didn't even have to dive. 2 down.
That was 96 miles an hour, down and away. Addison Barger doing a good job going the other way, but Cameron Meisner out there in center field covers so much ground, makes that catch look easy.
2 out, space is empty, top of the 7th. 6 2/3 today for Pepiot so far. Furthest he had gone was 6 in any start he's had with Tampa Bay. His pitch low and away to Ernie Clement, ball 1. Against the Marlins on September 7th, 2023 as a Dodger, he went 7 scoreless, 1 hit, and no walk. So I guess that stands as really his best start. This one pretty close, though. The 1-0 to Ernie. Hit on the ground off of Clement's front foot, 1-1. Pepiot winds and offers. Hit on the ground, foul again. It almost threatened to roll back fair at third baseline, but it is foul, 1-2.
And Pepiot, even at pitch number 90 here in the 7th inning, he still has that good stuff. The fastball still 94, 95. Still got command of all his pitches, and it's a warm day. We've talked about that a lot today. It's 34, 33 degrees. He's doing a good job so far in this ballgame.
1-2 is bounced over the hill. Backhanded second baseman Meade throws over to first. And caught just above the dirt by Aranda to end the inning. Ryan Pepiot, 7 scoreless at the 7th inning stretch. The Rays leading 9-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? Junior J Sunday. You can paint your face. Come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday. So many things to do. You can bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Lights up. Let's go to Junior J Sundays. It's family fun throughout the ballpark with games and activities that your squad will never forget.
Feeling the song, grab your dad or mom. Visit BlueJays.com. Junior J Sunday.
Of all the things that Timber Mart can lend a hand to build, community ranks among the most important. And with the Timber Mart Local Leaders Initiative, we strive to recognize those dedicated to making their hometowns a better place to live, work, and play. From now to June 25th, you can vote to select our grand prize winner. They'll receive a $10,000 grant to support their outstanding initiative as Timber Mart's Local Leader of the Year. To vote, visit local-leaders.com. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
Sportsnet Plus is the streaming home of the Blue Jays.
Oh, what a catch!
Stream over 150 Blue Jays games all season long.
You won't see this anywhere else.
Including pre- and post-game coverage with Jamie and Joe on Blue Jays Central.
One of the best in the game right here.
Watch all the Blue Jays action wherever you are, at home or on the go.
Don't you love baseball?
Plans start from $24.99 a month.
We are good to go.
Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
George Springer has given the Blue Jays the lead once again.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Thank you for tuning in today. Tough series finale so far for the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 7th about to start. It's 9-0 for the Tampa Bay Rays. Paxton Schultz still getting in his warm-up pitches. Why don't we brighten it up a little bit, Chris? Let's go to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Because in oil country, nothing's wrong right now. The Edmonton Oilers are playing Game 3 of the West Final at home right now. Their first home game of the series. 1-1 series tie against the Dallas Stars. And in the first period, first 14-ish minutes, they've scored twice, have the Oilers. Evan Bouchard from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Brett Kulak. And then Connor McDavid 36 seconds later from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And the Oilers lead 2-0 at home.
Is it weird that that's an afternoon game? I find that strange.
Well, you know, it gets really hot in Edmonton. So with the temperatures out there and the storm patterns, I don't know. It's a Sunday, I guess. Why not get more people down? You don't want to be out late on a Sunday if you got work on Monday. But I don't know. With everything that's gone on the diamond today, my mind's a little too scrambled for hockey showtime.
I don't know. You know a lot about a lot of things, so I figured you might know that one.
And most of them unimportant. So things like that, honestly, are in my wheelhouse. But we'll get back to baseball. Warm-ups have wrapped up. 9-0 Rays. Bottom of the 7th is going to start with Taylor Walls hitting against Paxton Schultz, who's looked real good. He's allowed only one base runner in 2 innings worth of outs so far. He's thrown only 15 pitches. Right on lefty offers to Walls. Ball to strike, 0-1.
And more good news, it seems like Ryan Pepio is out of this ball game. Gave a big hug to Danny Jansen after that inning. What a start from him.
If not the best of his career, the second best. 0-1. High, 1-1. And I think unequivocally the best start that he's had wearing a Tampa Bay Rays uniform, brought over in the big Tyler Glasnow deal before the 2024 season. Schultz delivers a 1-1. Outside, ball 2. Quickly pop over to the Bet365 standings in a sec. At Bet365, you can bet on popular markets like hits, home runs, and total bases. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. 2-1 pitch is lined foul, 2-2. Before we do the standings, though, actually, let's do some of the defensive changes because it's jumbled up a whole lot more. Ernie Clement, after starting the game at second and moving to short, is now the first baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays. 2-2. High ball 3. They're getting Vladdy off of his feet. That's put Michael Stefanik at short, where he played a lot in the minor leagues. It's moved Miles Straw from center field to second base. 3-2. Outside ball 4. Center field is now vacant. Jonathan Clase has moved from left to center, and Nathan Lucas is going to hit in the spot of Vladdy, the only guy actually taken out of the game in this jumble of a defensive alignment. Lucas into left field and now batting second in the Blue Jay order.
So in your professional opinion, where do you think Ernie Clement will be playing in the bottom of the 8th inning?
I think he catches in the 8th and then he broadcasts.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, there you go.
First pitch to Cameron Meisner, called a strike, 0-1. Runner on first, nobody out. 9-0 Rays, bottom 7. Left-handed hitter Meisner faces an 0-1 and pops it up. near third base, back of it actually, into left field foul territory, and it pops out of the glove of Lucas. It lands fair. They're going to say that's a fair ball. Walls around second, headed into third. Up to second goes Meisner, and a tough day continues for the Blue Jays. It's second and third now, nobody out.
Well, Nathan Lucas had to deal with that wall over there. That foul line is about a foot from that wall, that bullpen wall out there, and you could see him looking down, looking up, and he kind of lost the ball. I don't know if he was dealing with the sun. I'm assuming that had to do with it as well. But that is just a tough play on a ball that should be caught.
They will call that an error on Lucas, and notably they did not call the ball that dropped in from Yanni Diaz in the fifth in error when Springer was dealing with the sun. So maybe they don't feel like the sun was the big factor there. But it is a tricky wall. It's an odd ballpark, and Lucas just came in, and really almost nothing's going right today, so why not? 9-0 Rays, second and third, nobody out, and the pitch misses outside to Ben Rortvedt.
Now there's runners on second and third and nobody out in this inning. Paxton Schultz has thrown 24 pitches. I'm assuming he's going to finish out this ball game for the Jays.
Also, we promised the Bet365 standings, haven't gotten there yet. We'll get to them in a sec. 1-0. Hit on the ground up the middle. Coming home is Walls. Stefanik up with it at short, throws over to Clement. One out, and it's now 10-0. Runner advances to third as well. That was Meisner who started at second. So the Bet365 standings unchanged from when the day started. The Yankees 31-20 leading the division. The Red Sox are trailing 5-0 right now to the Orioles. Well, they're 27-27 as it stands, 5.5 back. Rays and Blue Jays both 25-26, 6 back, and the Orioles 17-34, 14 back as Yanni Diaz takes high ball 1. So if everything stands, let's say the Blue Jays and the Red Sox lose and the Orioles and the Rays win, then the Rays are going to jump in a 2-day span from 4th to 2nd in the division. 1-0. Diaz with a check swing, pitch up and in, point down to first base, and on appeal, it's no swing, 2-0.
And I have to say, after this weekend series, I know they were 23-26 coming into this series, but that's a good ball club. That's a pretty good ball club. A typical Rays team.
2-0, yanked down and away, 3-0.
That you might not know the names on the back of the jerseys, but there's a lot of good arms. There's some guys that can put together good at bats. It's a scary ball club, in my opinion.
They're seeing the likes of a Brandon Lau start to get going. They have Josh Lowe back. 3-0. Called a strike. They have Danny Jansen going a little bit now. He had a tough first 6-ish weeks of the season. And you know they're going to pitch. They're always going to pitch. (3-1). Swinging a foul off, 3-2. The challenge now for the Rays and for the Red Sox and the Blue Jays is they've really traded those 2 through 4 spots throughout the year. Who's going to, separate themselves? Because the Rays are going to go a game up on the Blue Jays. Blue Jays have been a game up on the Rays before this year, and the Red Sox have been up on both of them. Who separates themselves, and who gives chase to the Yankees? Who can get anywhere close, or are the Yankees going to get further and further away? (3-2). Hit on the ground to the right side. Coming home from third to score, Meisner. Lob over to first by Straw. He makes his first play at second base as he tosses over to first base, and it's 11-0.
I believe Miles Straw just double pumped that baseball. That was a strange one. I don't know if he didn't have a good handle on that baseball or if he wasn't really comfortable throwing that sidearm throw that he was about to throw, but
in his defense, Miles Straw has now played 604 Major League games. This is the 5th time in any of them that he's played even an inning at second. 2 outs, space is empty. Pinch hitting now is Christopher Morel, and he fouls it back. Or not pinch hitting, rather. He came in defensively, fouls it back 0-1. Straw has played second 4 times in 603 games before today. All 4 of them came in 2019 with Houston. 0-1. Outside, 1-1. He's changed organizations twice since then. and won a Gold Glove in center field, but the Blue Jays just trying to rest as many guys as they can, unloading the guys that they weren't resting already from the dugout. 1-1 cut on and missed 1 and 2, and Lucas and Stefanik put Straw in a position that is really not a position he plays at the major league level. 1-2 count, 2 outs, base is empty, 11-0 Tampa Bay. The pitch is off the hand of Morel. That's going to be a hit by pitch. Thought it tipped off the bat, but it actually got the top of his left hand, maybe on the fingers, and this is incredibly concerning. If you're the Rays, really low leverage point in this game, you bring in a guy defensively just to give Lowe some rest because Lowe's been hurt. And he takes in one of the most vulnerable spots you can get hit by a pitch.
Well, he does wear those batting gloves with a little bit more protection, a little padding on the top of that hand, but that hit him right in that left pinky. We're just seeing the replay now. That cannot feel good, and you could see him in agony as Kevin Cash comes out with the training staff.
They're testing the grip strength. It looks like Morel's all right. That's good to see. He was shaking out his hand a lot, so you get a little concerned. Did he break something? Such small and fragile bones in your hand. But he's going to remain in the ball game. Great news for him and the Rays. And now the inning continues for Adelaide, Australia's Curtis Mead. 11-0. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, and a runner on first. Schultz to Mead. Swing and a miss. You ever play with any Australians?
That is a great question. I don't think so.
Probably a little.
I played against Australia a bunch of times. They have a really good baseball program for whatever reason over there.
0-1. Hit high down the right field line. Ranging toward the corner. Springer, he can't see it. It's out of here. Snuck over the wall for Curtis Mead. His second homer of the series and third of the year. The Rays got a baker's dozen. It's 13-0.
I don't know how that ball got out of here. It was a tough pitch. It was a slider up and away, and Mead just gets the barrel to it, and that ball just kept going and just snuck over that right field fence out in right field.
And the ball has been traveling to right very well here so far this season.
It actually looked like George Springer had a beat on it, and then it just snuck over the fence.
321 feet out to right field. 13-0 Rays, and now the pitch to Caminero. Called a strike, but you would have played against Australia for Canada.
For Canada, yes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it feels like there's more and more Australians in the game each year.
They do have a winter league.
Yeah, a pretty good one.
A lot of guys go there and play.
Oh, 1 pitch in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike.
A lot of guys go there to play because it's a great vacation spot and they get to play baseball at the same time. But it is a good league. I know that for sure.
And I could see, too, if you wanted to go play winter ball and you only spoke English, maybe it'd be a little easier to acclimate over there. 1-1. Swing and a fly ball into the right field corner again. That's going to land and hop over the short sidewall. A ground rule double. Junior Caminero comes up with his second double of the day.
That's just an unfortunate double right there. Good pitch. Caminero hits it off the end of the bat. A little weak fly ball into shallow right field. Bounces fair. And then bounces over that bullpen wall in right field for a ground rule double. This inning should have ended a long time ago for Paxton Schultz, just to be clear.
Yeah, he's caught some tough breaks on a day where the breaks aren't the difference, but they haven't gone their way anyway. It's 13-0 Rays. Runner on second, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, and Jonathan Aranda's up. The pitch home. Down and in ball 1. We were talking Curtis Mead, Australian baseball. So I did go to look. There have been 35 Australians to play in the major leagues. 33 of them debuted 1992 and later, and 26 of them debuted this century.
Who would be the most well-known Australian?
Outside with the 102-0, I think it's Liam Hendricks. Liam Hendricks, a 3-time All-Star. He has more All-Stars than anyone else. Grant Balfour pitched from 0-1 to 15. He made an all-star game. (2-0). Swing and a miss, 2-1.
But when you're ranking winter leagues, because the Australian League is a pretty good league, it's not an overly popular league just because it's so far away, but I would say Dominican, Venezuela, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and then probably Australia after that.
2-1 pitch. Called a strike, 2-2. Looking at the prominent Australians, the Australian to play the most games ever in the majors is a guy named Joe Quinn, but he played from 1884 to 1901. So he's not exactly a household name these days, even though he played almost 1,800 games.
I know Quinny. He's a good dude.
Of course. You remember him from his St. Louis Maroons days.
Please don't ask me about the St. Louis Maroons.
2-2 pitch fouled off, still 2-2. Joe Quinn played for Boston in 1892. Just Boston. They're not listed with any other name. They're the Boston. It's actually what would go on to be the Braves, but they didn't have a name. Just for Boston. (2-2). Swing and a miss, strike 3. Aranda goes down, and that will end the 7th inning, an inning in which the Rays add 4 to their lead. They lead now 13-0 as we go to the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
5 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 and on the SiriusXM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Hear our conversations with Hall of Famers about the challenges they overcame on the journey to baseball immortality.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
I used to go to bed crying. They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let the games begin.
On SiriusXM, you get all the sports play-by-play you want and all the live sports talk you need. It's always a home game when you listen to the NFL, NHL, NBA, and MLB on the SiriusXM app.
How good is that?
We fuel your fandom with NASCAR, the biggest college games, PGA, and soccer. And when news breaks, hear instant reaction.
We got a big developing story out of Cincinnati.
The SiriusXM app. Everything a sports fan needs, all in one place. 24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 8th inning, Blue Jays and Rays. Rays up 13-0. It's a pitching change for Tampa Bay. Eric Orsi is into the game. This pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian. 15th appearance for the righty Orsi, sub-1 ERA. His pitch is taken for a strike by Jonathan Clase, now the center fielder. It's 0-1. Orsi is a little bit different than a lot of the Rays relievers. 0-1 pitch is slugged out towards right field. Ranging back, Morrell in the corner makes the catch, ducking his face out of the way, trying to avoid the sun. Last second, there's one out. I say Orsi's different because the Blue Jays have had a healthy serving of, here's another guy out of the Rays pen that throws 98 to 100. Orsi throws pretty hard, but he's actually a ground ball pitcher out of the bullpen. He's looking to force weak contact. He's in the bottom 5-6% in baseball in terms of strikeout rate. One out, and his pitch to Ali Sanchez. Hit back foul, 0-1.
But he came into the ballgame with a .98 ERA. Very
it's
effective.
Working.
Very effective.
It's working. And it's probably good, you know. you do want different looks. You, as much as you would love everyone to throw 98 top of the zone, you got to have some sort of change of pace. Orsi's 0-1. High, 1 ball, 1 strike. He was acquired from the Mets after debuting in 2 outings with the Mets last year. Traded in the offseason in the Jose Siri deal, 1-for-1 swap. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 1-2.
And he still has decent stuff. We're talking about him like he throws 85 miles an hour. Yeah. That last fastball above the strike zone was 94.
Yeah, he's not exactly Ryan Yarbrough. But more the way he's trying to get you out, I guess, is different. You have a Rays uniform on, you have great stuff. It's just how it works. The 1-2. Fouled back somehow. Sanchez covered a pitch way high off the zone at 94. (13-0) Rays. 1 out, bases empty. Top of the 8th. Sanchez's pop-up that dropped in the 5th. The last Blue Jays base runner today. 1-2. Downstairs, pretty nasty changeup there, but just broke a little too much and missed the zone.
I think that's really the difference maker for Orsi. It's that good changeup that looks like a fastball. I know I say that a lot, but that's really the most important thing. As long as that thing looks like a fastball, that'll get guys out.
2-2. Fouled away through another change. That one floated a little bit more, so Sanchez was able to roll it over off to the left and stay alive. Orsi dangling the right arm, ball in his hand, now tucks it into his glove. 2-2. Up and in, ball 3. Orsi to the back of the hill for some rosin out of the University of New Orleans, a 5th rounder by the Mets in 2020. Overcame multiple types of cancer while pitching in college. 3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the 4-seamer, and he does still have the punch-out stuff. 2 down.
And Orsi out of University of New Orleans, you know he's used to this weather, used to that muggy, hot weather. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you understand that.
It is still hot in Tampa, 34 degrees, about 50% humidity. Miles Straw, who grew up in and around Bradenton, comes up and hammers the ball in the air to center. Backing up, Cameron Meisner, shielding his eyes from the sun, makes the catch just off to his right to end a 1-2-3, top of the 8th. 13-0 for the Rays, middle of the 8th inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch 3-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Go to pizzapizza.ca. Which loony dogger are you? Do you approach Tuesdays with swagger and style? You could be a Rizzy Glizzy. Maybe you're an architect stacking your loony dogs up high. Do you walk into the ballpark with the confidence of an MVD? Then you're the most valuable dogger. This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. No matter which loony dogger you are, you'll have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the ballpark. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Every Tuesday home game. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swinging a liner, caught at third on a slide by Ernie Clement.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Pitching change as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays. On the mound, getting loose, it's Michael Stefanik, the utility infielder for Toronto, is going to pitch because it's 13-0 for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth, and thanks so much for tuning in today. Blue Jays are going to lose their DH. Anthony Santander goes in to play first. Ernie Clement goes back to shortstop. So he did move again, Chris, even though we were joking about it. Now a first pitch strike to Chandler Simpson, 0-1. Next pitch is hit in the air out to center field. Class A backpedaling, makes the catch. 2 pitches, 1 out for the righty Stefanik.
I'm wondering if because Stefanik is in this ballgame, I thought Paxton Schultz would finish this ballgame. Does that mean that Paxton Schultz will be staying with the team, or is he still a possible option down to AAA?
I do still wonder, just because of the numbers, if he gets option, because he's now pitched on back-to-back days.
That's true. I forgot about that.
You never know. First pitch to Taylor Walls misses high, ball 1.
And he did throw 46 pitches. That's a lot of pitches.
Now, the Blue Jays have a luxury right now that they haven't had in a bit, as the 1-0 is lifted toward left field. Nathan Lucas, ranging to left center, makes the catch. 2 quick outs. I do wonder, because they have a Jose Urena in their pen as well as the right-hander Paxton Schultz, you have multiple long guys. Maybe you can, if you really wanted to keep Schultz, maybe you could do it. Try and hold on to him at least until Eric Swanson returns, which might be as soon as Wednesday or Thursday. 2 outs in the pitch outside to Cameron Meisner. Ball 1. Next pitch, down and in. 2 balls, no strikes. But that'll be probably something we won't discover until before the game tomorrow. The 2-0 is popped up foul territory, first base side. Long run alley, Sanchez, and he makes an underhanded catch. 1-2-3 inning for Michael Stefanik. We go to the 9th. Rays 13, Blue Jays nothing. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hear every game of the NBA playoffs on SiriusXM.
He's going to fire up a 3 for the win!
Don't miss a second of the action all the way through the NBA Finals.
It's good from the left wing. Jalen Brunson is red hot.
And throughout the playoffs, get closer to the storylines that matter on NBA Radio, Channel 86.
There are certain guys that you need to be a part of your roster to win NBA championships.
Listen to home and away broadcasts of every NBA playoff game on your radio and the SiriusXM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
In a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio, every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
Baseball is back. It's former General Manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former Big League GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
A Sportsnet Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. It's the 9th inning. It's the Rays 13 and the Blue Jays nothing in the series finale. Rays 3 outs away from a sweep. New pitcher is Cole Sulser. Is offering to Michael Stefanik. Called a strike. Pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian. 0-1. Swing and a grounder foul, 0-2. Chris, after the game, you got the drive home. And then it's going to be close to dinner time. You know what sounds pretty good?
I know exactly what sounds good, and that, in fact, does sound good.
The new pizza from Pizza Pizza. Sulcer set, so 2. Outside 1-2, because the 9th inning is brought to you by new pizza from Pizza Pizza. Chris can get a huge 18-inch double XL 3-topping pizza for just $19.99. Bigger slices, bigger bites, only at Pizza Pizza. Actually Canadian. 1-2 is grounded foul, still 1-2. You're what, 6'5"?
I could eat that whole thing.
3X seems like the right size for you.
3X.
What toppings would you do? You get 3.
I'm simple.
You just want cheese?
Pepperoni.
1-2 pitch hit foul, still 1-2.
Once in a while, some little jalapenos sprinkled in there, but majority of my pizzas are cheese, pepperoni, and that is that.
That's fair. I mean, that's a good pizza.
What about you?
I wouldn't do much more. I might add some mushrooms onto that pepperoni pizza.
Get out of here.
1-2 to Stefanik. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a nice garlic dipping sauce.
Oh, that's pretty good, yeah. I forgot about that.
Stefanik to hit first. Nathan Lucas and Anthony Santander this inning. Sulcer's 2-2. Lined hard. Foul off to the right. Not as much netting extending here. Hopefully everyone's all right as that went into the seats. Still 2-2.
The more airtime we give that double XL pizza, do you think the higher the chance that we get a free one at some point?
That's the hope. That's the hope. It's a triple XL, I believe.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
2-2. Lined up the middle, a base hit for Stefanik into left center field. Good knock for the Blue Jay infielder. Toronto's first hit since the 5th, and their 4th hit overall today.
Well, Stefanik's having a good ball game. Pitches a clean 8th against this tough Rays lineup, and then rips a single up the middle.
A one-time teammate of Shohei Ohtani.
There you go.
No hold on Stefanik at first. Nathan Lucas is up against Cole Sulcer. He's making his 7th appearance of the year. 4.15 ERA in 8 2/3. First pitch fouled back by Lucas, 0-1. Low to mid-90s heater for Sulcer. Changeup, cutter. It's a 25th rounder by Cleveland in 2013 out of Dartmouth. 0-1. Swinging a bouncing ball, picked up at third. Caminero underhands to second, one over to first for the double play. Because of the shift, Caminero was close enough to make that almost look like a double play up the middle. It's a 5-6-3 double play, and there are 2 outs with the bases empty.
How rare is that one, by the way? The third baseman giving it to the shortstop throwing on to first base. That's got to be one of the rarest double plays out there.
It is a weird one, but because of the shift,
that's true.
It's becoming more popular. Not that it's not rare, it's unique, but I think you see teams practicing it a little bit now because it's not a play that they were ever expected to make before. 2 outs. The pitch to Anthony Santander is high, ball 1. Because if you're shifting to a lefty, the third baseman's so close to second, and the second baseman is really far away. He can't come over to cover on a ball hit to third. 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Doesn't quite look right, though. The angles are wrong.
It was really awkward. That's why I asked, because it just doesn't look natural.
Well, the shortstop isn't attacking the bag at the angle we usually see middle infielders do that when they turn 2. 1-1. Fouled back 1-2. Final hope of this ball game. One more strike for the Blue Jays to play with. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the base is empty. 13-0 Rays. Top of the 9th inning. Last 2 were close. This one has not been in what's going to go down as a pretty tough series overall for Toronto. 1-2. Swatted away foul. Coming off a sweep of a potential playoff team like San Diego, the Blue Jays wanted to come in here to Tampa and maybe take a series from the Rays, get some distance between them and the other teams in the middle of the division, and it has gone the opposite direction. Sulcer's 1-2. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I can tell you this much. It was a fun flight from Toronto to Tampa, and it'll be a tough flight from Tampa to Dallas tonight.
The Blue Jays have a Memorial Day game tomorrow. 2-2, rolled over foul. I don't know if it's better or worse, but not a lot of time to absorb this, as the Blue Jays will be back in action at 4:05 Eastern tomorrow at Globe Life Field in Texas.
Normally, I would say it's better. You get it out of the way quicker. But this was a long game, and the Blue Jays could probably use that few hours.
2-2, rocketed foul on the line right side.
If not a full off day.
Not to mention, you're trying to get going again. 2 runs in this series. How's Jacob deGrom for you? A healthy Jacob deGrom at 4:05. Kevin Gausman will be his opponent. Gausman is coming off a great start of his own. 2-2. Hit foul once more. Santander doesn't want to leave Tampa. He's fighting.
I mean, it was almost like the Padres series when they got swept by the Blue Jays. They were they facing DeGrom? No, who did they go? No, it was Chris Sale. They had Chris Sale the following day.
After,
that was tough for them.
2-2 again. And fouled off again on 9 pitch at bat. You do have to give some credit to Santander. He's struggling, the team's way down, and he is taking this at bat that truthfully doesn't have that much meaning, like it's the most important at bat right now, doing everything he can. 2-2, down and away, ball 3.
I mean, to him personally, this is a very important at bat. He's kind of getting back on track now, looking a little better in that batter's box. That last take on a tough changeup was a very impressive take.
3-2. Swing and a miss, he got him. Strikeout ends the ball game. A game that the Rays dominate 13-0, the final score to sweep the series.
Tough game overall. Chris Bassett came out and really didn't have his good stuff today. He's been very good this season, but today he just didn't have it. Couldn't really find the strike zone, wasn't throwing great pitches, and ended up giving up a bunch of runs early. But give credit to Ryan Pepiot. I feel like we've said that a lot over this series, but Ryan Pepiot was very good today. No earned runs in 7 innings pitched.
We're going to take a quick step aside, wrap it up, and get you over to Blue Jays Talk. Final score, Rays 13, Blue Jays nothing. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart. Locally owned, proudly Canadian. Your home team advantage with the right materials and the right price. Project know-how that's brought together a wealth of plans and solid advice. Trust your team at your locally owned Timber Mart. Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? Junior J Sunday. You can paint your face. Come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday. So many things to do. You could bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Lights up, let's go to Junior J Sundays. It's family fun throughout the ballpark with games and activities that your squad will never forget.
Feeling the song, grab your dad or mom, visit BlueJays.com. Junior J Sunday.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Hoffman, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
13-0, the final score. The Blue Jays over the Rays. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. We'll wrap it up quick, get you over to Blue Jays talk. Chris, like you mentioned, though, kind of off the back of the broadcast, Chris Bassitt had some struggles today. He went 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Who knows how much it would have mattered anyway. The Blue Jays got shut out in the game, but Mason Fluharty also probably had his toughest outing in a Blue Jay uniform, coming in and allowing 4 earned runs without getting it out. It was a big 5th inning that ended up being the decider in this game, a 5th inning in which the Rays scored 7 runs.
Yeah, I think when you look back at this game, there was a lot of things that went wrong for the Blue Jays on the offensive side, on the mound, and then especially on the defensive side. George Springer had that ball drop in right field. Nathan Lucas had that ball pop out of his glove down that left field line. I mean, this is a very, very forgettable ball game, and I think the Blue Jays will quickly turn the page when they get on that plane. It's not going to be an easy flight to Dallas, but I think that the good thing about this team, the good thing about baseball, is you get to do it tomorrow.
Well, and not to get ahead of it, because we'll still talk about the game. It looks like the Rangers are about to get swept by the White Sox. So that, both teams will be looking for a little bit of get back in that series. But you look at the offensive performance, and not just today, like you said. I mean, this is a forgettable game. Nothing went right. But overall in the series, great pitching from the Rays, but the Blue Jays score 2 runs in 3 games after scoring over 20 in 3 against San Diego, who pitches pretty well also. Was there something you saw that they needed to do that they weren't doing, something to change, or is it kind of just a burn the tape type of series and get ready for DeGrom?
Well, I think the very obvious thing, and this facing DeGrom doesn't help any tomorrow, but I think the biggest thing for me watching this series was they just didn't hit the fastball. They got the fastball. They got pitches that were actually hittable. I know that they were probably 96 to 100 miles an hour, and I don't pretend to think that that's an easy feat by any means. But if you're a good team and you expect to be in the playoffs, you have to be able to hit the fastball. And the Blue Jays just didn't do that in this series. They got 4-seam fastballs over the heart of the plate, and they just didn't hit it. They didn't come through, and they needed to.
Blue Jays lose the game 13-0. No runs on 4 hits, 1 error for Toronto, 3 left on base. The Rays come up with 13 runs on 15 hits. They do not commit an error. They left 7 on base. The winning pitcher was the starter Ryan Pepio after the Rays had lost 3 straight of his quality starts. He gets his 3rd win in the year. He's 3-5. Bassitt with the loss, 4-3, no save. 2-hour and 44-minute game in front of exactly 10,046 for the 3rd straight day at George M. Steinbrenner Field, a ballpark the Blue Jays will be wiping from their minds for the foreseeable future. With the loss, Toronto now 25-27. The Rays get back to 500. They're 26-26. Blue Jays back in action tomorrow for the first of 3 against the Rangers. Memorial Day in the U.S. It's a 4:05 Eastern first pitch, and it's a pretty good pitching matchup, especially in name value. Jacob deGrom and Kevin Gausman will face off in that one tomorrow. Again, 4:05 Eastern is first pitch. For our technical director, Tom Young, our producer, Nick Blackmore, our host, Joe Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Thanks so much for tuning in, and credit to you for sticking throughout. The Blue Jays dropped the game 13-0. I imagine you have a lot of thoughts. Get your calls and texts in. Blue Jays Talk with Joe Ali and Nick Ashbourne starts right now.
Well, Nick, that was approximately 2 hours and 45 minutes of our lives that we'll never get back. I'm pretty sure we don't get that back at any point. The Blue Jays trailed 2-0 entering the 5th inning, and they exited that same inning trailing 9-0. Like, there was hope of a comeback at some point, but unfortunately that 5th inning was the backbreaker. The Jays are now 1-5 against the Rays so far this season. They are now 2 games under 500, 25-27, following a 13-0 loss to wrap up a series sweep in Florida.
I mean, it was dismal. It was an abomination. Use whatever adjective you want. Break out your thesaurus. This is about as bad as it gets. in a single game. Now, does having a terrible single game mean that the season is ruined and that you have to think every player on the field is a terrible player? Absolutely not. But this was undoubtedly a brutal performance. Before the game, we talked about, what you could say about Chris Bassitt. He's not always dominant, but he always gives you a decent start. We said he always gives you 5 innings this season. He's never given up more than 4 runs. Well, this is the time when he broke that pattern, and then the guys who came in after him did not help. There's some really ugly feeling in the corners. George Springer ended up without an error somehow in the box score in this game, but he had a really, really tough time out there. Nathan Lucas, when he came into the game, he had that error, which ultimately led to 4 unearned runs. The lineup did absolutely nothing. I'm going to give a little bit of credit to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 1 for 2.
This is not the day for that, Nick.
1 for 2 with a walk and 2 of the 3 hardest hit balls in the game. He was not incredible, but he literally did his job. The rest of the lineup, 3 for 27 with no walks. And every single one of those 3 hits was a single, and one of those singles resulted immediately in a pickoff. That is what the lineup did today. It's hard to know what to say about it because it is the type of performance that undoubtedly they simply want to forget about. There is nothing positive to really draw from this game. Michael Stefanik, surprisingly good as a pitcher. It's his second big league outing, 2 scoreless innings now. No major league hitters have managed to do any damage against him. He lives in the high 50s, low 60s with that slider. Looked pretty efficient out there, but other than that, wow.
Yeah, Michael Stefanik coming in and immediately setting down 1, 2, 3, and then in the very next half inning, getting a hit was by far the highlight of this game.
It's a sprinkle of Ohtani right there.
Shohei who? Yeah, Michael Stefanik. When that's what you focus on for even more than 10 seconds, I think you know what kind of a game you were watching. You're listening to Jay's Talk, of course. Show Ali, Nick Ashbourne with you. We're live on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. You can give us a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666. 0590 star 590 on your cell. You can text us as well, 590 name and location. The People's text line is always open. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Maybe I was thinking this because the Oilers game is going on right now, and it started much earlier, right? But it's about 90 minutes ago, and maybe because hockey was on, but there's some horrifying synergy between the Jays and another Toronto team in the Leafs, in that anytime they give you even the slightest bit of hope that things might be turning the corner, they go and immediately dunk on you for believing that this time things will be different. I mean, maybe I just have some lingering trauma based on how the Leafs season ended, but I admit right after, I think it was before I got to 13-0, right after the 5th inning, I thought to myself, that definitely crossed my mind.
I have a group chat with a couple of friends, and one recurring joke in that chat is people keep asking, can the Blue Jays get over 500? Will that happen for the rest of the season? And they kept getting close and falling back, getting close, falling back. They actually did it.
They did
it against the Padres with that sweep against a quality team at home where the offense really came to the fore and did a good job. And so it looked like we're over the hump here a little bit. And then suddenly this series in Tampa Bay, where they didn't even give themselves a chance realistically with what they did on offense. And we referred to some of the pitching they saw earlier, and they saw good pitching in this game as well. But at a certain point, you need to produce, you need to grind out a few runs. Even if the pitching is good, you need to grind out a few runs. 1 run, 0 run is simply do not give yourself a chance. Bassitt, there was a moment in this game where it kind of felt like he might sort of escape with a half-decent out. He was working in and out of trouble the whole time, but it seemed like he could find a pitch when he needed it, and the defense could bail him out. And before the 5th inning explosion, you kind of thought, you know what? Maybe he's kept them in this game a little bit. But actually he hadn't, because the offense was so bad that giving up 2 runs in the first had already ended the game. And that's just that's not going to be a place from which you're going to be able to go on the run that they need to go on to get over that hump, be consistently over 500, be the team competing for the wild card that is the goal this season.
Yeah, I really do think that this is largely who this team is. And I don't, what I mean by that, I don't mean by a team that is bad enough to lose 13-0 every game, but more a team that is going to experience the highs of sometimes sweeping teams, the 14-0 win in there, as they did with the Padres, and then experience the lows of losing like this they did today to wrap up a series sweep against a divisional opponent, right? Like that is kind of what it is. To your point about being a 500 team, like that kind of is what it means to be a 500 team, right? Like you get some really high highs, you get some real low lows. And I mean, I've said this before a million times at this point, it feels like, but like this team is going to hover between 2 and 3 games above or below 500 more or less all season. And I'm not really sure I've seen anything to believe that that's not going to be the case. Because again, I don't think they're this bad all the time, but they're also not 14-0 being the Padres good every time either.
Well, no one is this bad all the time. If you're this bad all the time, you're not a major league franchise, to be honest. I know what you mean, where there might be stretches that might get on a big winning streak at some point, but based on the talent on the roster, you know, you can even start in the rotation, right? Like they had one of the guys, arguably the guy they were most confident who went today, and they still got absolutely blown out. Yeah. But you've got a 5th spot that is very much up in the air. Eric Lauer's given them, something a little bit interesting, but he's not someone you consider a consistent starter at this point in his career. Bowden Francis has been, pretty brutal for most of the season. And so, like, that's the starting point for that consistency, is you're putting out someone on the mound who you think will keep the game in order, give you a chance to win. And from that point, you still have to do something on offense. But the Jays don't even really have that starting point in the rotation where they can go into a game, feel confident that they're not going to fall behind early by a significant margin. Now, obviously, that happened in this game. That's happened in a lot of Bowden Francis starts. It happened in the Barrios game as well. And, he's someone who is looking a little bit shaky and had, rough velocity his last outing. We'll see where that goes. But the strength of this team is right now, I think it's sort of the bullpen and defense. And neither of those things help you get out in front of games. In both of those situations, you're putting yourself in a position where it's likely that the other team is going to get the jump on you. And again, we saw that in this series. It's always hard to come back, but it's even harder when your offense is, if we're being generous, middle of the pack.
And in a game like this, when you lose 13-0, your bullpen and defense also didn't really show up.
The defense certainly did not show up. I will say a little bit of grace for Mason Fluharty, because he's had a rough outing. His ERA went from 2.14 to 3.46. 4 runs came in on him. But the average exit velocity against him was 77.6, which is like way, way, way below average. Balls were not getting hit hard against him. They were falling in against him. It was just one of those nightmare days. I don't think he was outstanding, but if you look at where he threw his pitches, like he did hug the corners at times. He did a lot of the stuff that's worked for him in the past. He just had one of those times where it's simply not your day. So as a guy who's still trying to establish himself, this is not the type of outing where I see him and think, oh, I trust him less. He deserves less of a role because of this blow up. He had the out at the plate not happen. Again, experienced some of the Springer's difficulties in right field. I think he'll ultimately be okay, even though this is a really, really unpleasant box score for him to look at. Again, this is me trying to spin a positive out of a guy who did not record a single out. So you can take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, it was a tough outing for Fluharty, right? 3 hits, 4 runs, all of which were earned. A walk in there as well, which was a walk that scored a run. Yeah, there was the 50-50 play on the tag attempt. I tend to think he was safe. Not a great throw from Ernie Clement, not a great tag attempt as well at the dish. He gives the hit to Chandler Simpson. He walks the run, bases loaded single to Rortvedt. That scores 2 runs. Paxton Schultz comes in, and then a kind of a tough break. You mentioned George Springer, the misplay in the sun. Another run scores on Fluharty's ledger there. It was a tough watch, but I'm with you. It wasn't a lot that was hit particularly hard. Having said that, that is a small comfort when you do lose 5 double-digit runs.
The only comforts available to us at this moment are small comforts. Let's be clear.
I think that's fair. This is from Sportsnet Stats before we go to the phones. Wednesday, Blue Jays matched the record for the largest home shutout victory in franchise history. So that was the 14-0 win over the Padres. Sunday, the Blue Jays suffered their 3rd largest road shutout margin of defeat in franchise history. So there you go. So a tale of 2 teams tailed off some real high highs and some really low lows when it comes to what we got today. 416-870-0590, 1-888-660-590, star 590 on your cell. We'll go to the text line in a sec, 590-590, name and location. But first, let's go to the phones, and let's go to Alan in Toronto, who joins us here on Jays Talk. Alan, what's on your mind?
And they reversed their field, didn't they? Toronto 14, San Diego nothing on Wednesday. And they shut out the Padres the night before, too, 2-0. And Padres are one of the most dangerous teams in baseball, one of the most dangerous hitting teams. So the only thing you can expect is the unexpected. Texas Rangers are 3 games under 500, so I give the Jays a good chance. And the last at bat for Santander, 11 pitch at bat in a hopeless situation. You have to give hats off to him. And there's 2 sides to every story, too. There always is. Tampa Bay pitched their lights out today, and all you hear is the Jays, they left their bats in the cold storage room. There's 2 sides to every story. And Chris Bassett gave up 9 hits and 5 runs. Why don't you just say that Tampa Bay went to the lumberyard, 13 runs on 15 hits? There are 2 sides to every story. You know, it's that's baseball for you. You can't just blame the Jays. Why don't you give credit to the Rays?
Yeah, hey Alan, thanks for the call. I appreciate you joining us, and I think that's like a valid point, right? I mean, you can't only crush one team. I mean, sometimes pitchers pitch well, and sometimes hitters hit. They get paid millions of dollars too, just like the Jays do. But I think the reason for me, and I'm guessing the reasons a lot of texters and callers tend to focus on the negative, is because it does feel like somewhat of a pattern when you take into the previous years all into account as well. Having said that, I mean, like, on a day like today, like, nothing went right? I tend to believe you just throw it all out. But like Bassett, for example, to use that, because we haven't really gone too in depth on Bassett, he just looked like he was really laboring, right? Maybe the heat was an issue. Like, I don't actually know. We'll have to hear what they say afterwards. Bassett usually, takes accountability for those kinds of things. So I'm curious to see what he says. But I mean, he gives up the home run to Lau in the first inning. He had a lot of traffic most innings. And he also wasn't helped by extremely quick outings from the Blue Jays bats either, right? I mean, like, and by no means blaming this on any one player, because again, you can't when you lose 13-0. But I mean, after that gruesome 5th inning, I have to imagine basically everyone reacted the exact same way you and I both did, which was you see a 7-run 5th inning from the Rays bats, and then Bo Bichette comes up and swings to the first pitch, and sends it right to right field for the first out, like what, seconds after the game comes back from commercial break. So again, by no means is it on Bo Bichette, but there were a lot of those kinds of moments in this inning and in this game, and it doesn't seem to have helped Bassett on a day he was already laboring quite a lot.
I think it's right that there are 2 sides to every story, and that is something we got into a little bit in the pregame show and how good the Rays pitching had been. This one does feel a little bit different for a couple of reasons. I mean, one of them is that the Rays were not actually smacking the ball around the ballpark that much. There was that home run in the first, but as I mentioned earlier, Vladdy had 2 of the 3 hardest hit balls in the game. Like, it wasn't like they were constantly shooting rockets around. We talked about Nathan Lucas making that error in left, a couple of balls, and the wind did seem to be a factor, and the sun did seem to be a factor. Like, the conditions were legitimately difficult, but both teams were dealing with those conditions. And so, the adventures that Springer had in right, not just the one, there were a couple that looked potentially catchable that fell in. And so when balls are kind of falling in like that and the defense isn't necessarily doing its job, that's when I think it's fair to point to the Jays and say they are culpable for this loss, as opposed to the Rays have done something extraordinary and we have to tip our caps to them. Obviously, the Rays did some things right in this game. There's no 2 ways about it. Even a Jays lineup that, as I said, generously you could call middle of the road, holding that lineup to no extra base hits, like, that's a legitimate accomplishment. They deserve some credit for that. But that line of thinking, for me, fits more with the previous 2 games in the series. With this game, I just don't think the Blue Jays gave themselves a chance. Also, the Santander thing, that is worth a note. A guy coming up with absolutely no chance to make a difference in this game, hot day, could easily want to go home. Someone who has actually had some injury trouble recently, going to a day game the next day, sort of mailing in that at bat, or at least just sort of swinging aggressively and seeing where the chips fall. That would have been a very easy thing to do. And he worked an 11 pitch at bat did not go his way in the end. He struck out, but I do think that that's a little bit of a demonstration of grit, which is something that's not always the easiest to see in baseball, but he did show that.
So we're saying Stefanik won and Santander's final IB of the game 2 as the lone positives from a 13-0 defeat.
And a half decent day from Vladdy before they pulled him.
Okay,
That's 3.
Vladdy,
There's your 3 stars of the game.
Those are the 3 stars, exactly. 590, name and location is the text line. Russ in Kingston saying, this team, and I'm just going to assume this is correct from Russ before I can't, since I can't fact check it on the go here, but Russ saying this team really hates weekends. They're 5-13 on the weekend with a -33 run differential. Weekdays, they are 20-14 with a +6 run differential. You know, that sounds, I'll say this, it sounds right to me because I do all the Jays talks on the weekends and Blair and Barker largely do the Jays talks during the week. So that sounds about right to me for Russ's math there.
For now, I'm going to have to call that a statistical oddity. Sometimes these things happen, and there's actually a structural reason why a team is better or worse in a certain situation. I think back, this is going to be an odd reference, but I think back to Josh Hamilton and him performing really well in night games and poorly in day games, and then they learned later on that his eyes had a heavy sensitivity to light. This was a player who was like an MVP caliber offensive force for a brief window in his career.
Right.
And he had these amazing numbers at night, and during the day they were terrible because his eyes had sensitivity to light. So in those bright days in the afternoon, he actually really struggled to pick up the ball and perform as well. And I don't think there's anything real and structural happening with the Blue Jays. I don't think there's some unbelievable party team, for instance, that shows up to the ballpark and immensely hungover and is unable to do their jobs. For now, I think it's a statistical quirk, but it's an interesting one to point out.
Before we wrap up on Bassett and get back to the calls too, I don't want to forget this. So we saw more, and you pointed this out to me during the game, but we saw a lot more of like the quote unquote hard stuff from Bassett today than maybe we usually do. I mean, by the end of his outing, and again, he only went 4 innings, so it wasn't like he threw as many pitches as he usually does, but 4+ innings, I guess if you want to consider it that way. But Bassett threw 34 sinkers, he threw 28 cutters, and every other pitch was under 10, right? He threw 9 curves, 6 splitters. The curve and splitter, I feel like you tend to see a little bit more than 9 and 6. He threw 2 sweepers, 2 4-seamers, 1 slider. Not too much of a surprise for those ones. But were you surprised ultimately by the end of this game when it comes to the pitch mix? Because I feel like we do often see, like in the best Bassett starts, you see the hard stuff followed by a lot of the soft stuff, like a 91 mile an hour sinker followed by a 71 mile an hour curveball. And I feel like we didn't get to see that too much today.
There was a concerted effort, and I don't know if it comes from Bassett or Sanchez or the team scouting staff, whatever, but the way it played out, there was definitely a concerted effort for him to establish those pitches. And maybe his idea was that later in the game he would go to the soft stuff, and that just never happened because he didn't last in the game. But some of what's been most effective for him this season has been that really slow curveball, has been that sweeper, which is, again, like living in the mid-low 70s. And it's part of what makes him different. Like, there's not a lot of pitchers that have that. And so it's a look that hitters right now just are not used to timing up, and it's been really effective. And it was definitely underutilized in this game. The first 13 pitches of the game were all sinker, cutter, fastball. And I don't know for sure if that played a role in the Brendan Lau home run, but it might have. He might have seen people before him just see sinker, cutter, and time himself up for that. And I think Bassett probably could have helped himself by, dropping a couple of those curveballs in early just to keep that in the hitters' minds. It didn't work out this time. Like, trying to follow what Bassett is doing in a given start is always difficult because he got so many pitches, and some of them are probably going and not going on a given day. But this is an instance where you can kind of pick up the fact that there wasn't a lot of breaking balls here, and you can definitely intuit that things might have gone slightly differently if the pitch mix had been a bit more balanced.
The cutter, too, that he threw to Lau didn't really cut either. And so when you're throwing a cutter that doesn't have the regular movement on it, and he left it over the middle, you're kind of just throwing a ball that hangs in there, and he threw it at 87 miles an hour or so. I mean, of all people that do that too, Brandon Lau also. I mean, Brandon Lau, by the way, also quickly climbing up the list of Blue Jays killers, the players who enjoy being the Blue Jays daddy. I mean, he hit his 20th career home run off a Blue Jays pitcher in his 61st game started against him. That is a truly ludicrous pace. 20 home runs in 61 games.
I always find those stats very bizarre because obviously it's different pitchers along the way. We know that he's had a lot of success against Bassett in particular, but when you say Blue Jays pitchers, that could mean anybody over a course of years. So I'd have to believe that has something to do with the ballpark. Like he probably obviously didn't. This is a new ballpark in this particular game, but I bet you that he enjoys hitting at Rogers Center. He just picks up the ball well there, and it suits his swing because. Yeah, there's a huge difference between facing Chris Bassett and Brendan Little and Yariel Rodriguez and all the guys you could conceivably be facing.
Yeah, versus like Tyler Chatwood or something like that. Not to pick on him in particular, but just the name that came to the top of my mind.
It was a tough Blue Jays tenure for him, let's be honest.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Joe in Mississauga. Joe, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I've been watching the Jays since their inception, and I'll tell you, the last few years, Tampa game plan against the Jays seems to be perfect all the time. It doesn't matter if Tampa's in a slump, if they're on a run, they just play the Jays perfectly. So obviously the coaches get together and they have a game plan. Jays, on the other hand, with all those coaches, all those analytic people that they have, are lost. And I don't get it, but Tampa, it's so frustrating. And I look at this team, and I look at all those coaches, and I'm thinking, that inning that Bassett had a rough go, I think you guys spoke about it a bit. But in my mind, I've coached Little League, obviously. But, I mean, so you tell a kid, take a pitch, your pitcher's dying out there. He had a tough inning. But no, major league pitchers, major league hitters go up there. And I think it was 4 pitches and 3 outs. I mean, if Bassett's not disgusted with those players or with the coaches that couldn't walk up to Bichette, I think it was Bichette, that catcher, Sanchez, I think the last guy was it Straw, couldn't go up and say, hey, guys, take a couple pitches. Are you kidding? Like I'm so done with the Jays and all the nonsense, especially the coaches. And I see Encarnacion in there, the hitting instructor, helping them. I love Edwin, but nothing seems to be working. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I really put the blame on, I still do, with the coaches on up. I'm sorry, that's my little rant.
No.
It just bothers me. I couldn't watch. My wife goes, are you still watching? So at that point, I tell you, the score was 4-0. I said, you know what? I'm shutting it off. I got some stuff to do. I turn on the radio and I hear Straw's playing second base, and I go, oh my gosh. I go, this is, they have to fire. I would only keep Walker. I'd fire everybody. That's my take.
All right, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thanks for joining us here on Jays Talk. Yeah, I'm actually surprised we haven't gotten that many fire John Schneider takes and fire more people takes, I should say, after a game like this. But I'll say this before we get into that. He mentioned analytics, and I'll just say I do think, I'm not sure I want to blame it in particular on John Schneider after a game like this, or, I tend to put most of the blame on the players themselves. And I guess if that is the case, then I guess the person you can blame will be Ross Atkins, right? Because it's about him. If you find the fault with the players, then the truth is that this is the roster he constructed, right? So I think that reflects on him more than on the manager. But when it comes to analytics, I mean, of all the teams to say like analytics are like you lose the analytics battle against, I mean, the Rays are probably like the most analytics heavy team in like all of baseball. Maybe the Dodgers are next, but of course the Dodgers have the really good players to back it up. But I don't know. I'm not sure I would put the blame necessarily on analytics, but I do agree that to Joe's general point on like something needs to change, it does, I think, point to some kind of flaw with the process that you spend this much money on the payroll and only get like a 500 level ball club.
Yeah, there's a couple of things at the front office. One of them is that I do think there's a bit of a misconception about the Jays being a huge analytics team, because for one, everybody is at this point. Like analytics are huge in baseball. People have a decent sized staff of these guys, regardless of what team they are. I think that because of the way Atkins and Shapiro present themselves, people then believe that they're extremely into analytics. And it's like, that's more than the actual truth. As you pointed out, the Rays more sophisticated, Astros, Dodgers, yada, yada, yada. You could go on. I don't think that Jays are really special in any direction there. And then the other thing about building the ball club, inefficiently, having to spend this much for kind of middling talent, like that is a player development failure. Beyond Bo and Vladdy and Kirk, they have not, and Manoah to some extent, although that's been a bumpy road, they have not been able to graduate quality big league players. And so they have to go out and pay for them. So then they're going out and paying for declining veterans who are decent, but not necessarily extraordinary, and paying the market rate for them. That's how you get an expensive team that is not particularly good.
Yeah, I think you can solve a lot of problems with money in professional sports. I'm not sure you can solve every problem every single year with money. Like, I think it always just felt that, getting that sexy free agent, which is fun. Like, don't get me wrong. It's definitely one of my favorite parts of the offseason, looking at the free agent market. But I think that's typically viewed as being the finishing touch, right? For a club that is ready to take the next step or make the playoffs or whatever, bring in the right guys who you didn't have in the organization before. But when you're doing that every single offseason and you're just throwing money at the problem. And I mean, I talked about this on a couple episodes ago during one of the night games, but I mean, like the rotation is something that's going to have to be filled. Like if Bassett leaves and you need to fill the fifth spot still because Scherzer is going to leave,